Good evening and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. Tonight, we are bringing you the quarterfinals of the Missouri Scholastic Esports Association Spring Overwatch season. I've been following this season all semester, and now we are finally toward the playoffs. And joining me to help cover the playoffs, I've got Brenner Bear joining us. It is going to be great to have you hopping in here, Brenner, toward the end of this season. And the interesting thing about high school, seeing kind of this high school level of Overwatch, is that you kind of see a different form of play with the collegiate level, and the fact that sometimes those showy big DPS plays, you know, those big death blossoms, are a little bit more weight can be placed on them when you have the fact that sometimes these teams might not have, you know, as much practice or as much resources as the collegiate teams do.
Yeah, I definitely saw that when I casted the JV semifinals just the other day. So hopping over to the varsity level, hopefully we see a little bit higher level plays, but it could easily go from it's back and forth like we had with JV, or it could be a complete stomp 3-0 wipe through and we go on to the next one, because these are best of 5 matches, so we could go the full 5 as we have 4 games going on tonight. But we'll just have to wait and see when that comes. Hopefully in this varsity team we see a little bit more closer to the meta with the double bubble, or say the Ryan Zarya hard push, or maybe we'll see something completely chaotic and they'll go like an attack Bastion. We don't know. It's going to be a fun time for sure as we hop in to these games.
Well, just to remind everybody what led up to this, there were 14 schools in an 8-week season, with all teams being seeded in the playoffs, with 4 weeks of playoffs starting in April. Now we're in May, however, and we are on our way to the quarterfinals. We can see we are going to be covering all of the quarterfinals tonight, and CR3 is going to go up against, I was told it was West St. Francois, but it could also be the Hickman Cupies, as we see also there. So CR3 is definitely going to be one of the teams that we see in our first match here. CR3 has been a team that has really staged some incredible comebacks, and so just the general history of this team kind of suggests that we might not see a 3-0 stomp with these teams if CR3 takes a loss in the first or second. So overall, it's going to be kind of a combination of both these team skills and also kind of the map choices that we see, because in this Missouri high school level, we have Assault earlier in the second position, rather than the standard hybrid taking second.
Yeah, and it's also fixed maps for all of these games, so these teams would be able to prepare on these maps and have certain strategies going into this. So hopefully we see a little bit more unique play on some of these maps that may be their back pocket strategy to throw some of these higher level teams off. Because as we saw in JV, CBC was pretty dominative in their games, so going into this, maybe their varsity is just as good, or can pull off some of our like Boise Blue strategies on Kings Row, where it's just kind of wacky and it throws a lot of people off. Definitely have to wait and see going into this first match.
Well, our matchup is going to be CR3 versus Hickman in this quarterfinals. It'll be the first of 4 matches that we cover tonight. And like I said, it is CR3 versus the Hickman Cupies and their distinctive mascot. Both these teams are going to be fighting on for the semifinals, which we will cover tomorrow.
Go right ahead. I was just going to say it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, before we get to that good matchup, we need to keep in mind Doc's keys to the game for Overwatch, which is never take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared, and tempo. Doc's keys to the game, brought to you by Count. Count Identity Trust Global Network delivers real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Quick and accurate identity trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com, KOUNT.com. Alrighty, let's jump right into it. We are going to be going to the first map, which is, of course, going to be Control, starting off on Nepal.
Yeah, Nepal's the same one. We started off with the JV, and we're seeing a pretty traditional comp on both sides. We see a lot of Ryan and Orisa, and both these teams seem to have the affinity for that Lucio, speed boosting onto point. However, Hickman's going for the Diva over the Orisa, and the Hanzo and McCree compared to the May Symmetra. So one's definitely going to be more fight on point, close hold, and the other one's going to try to poke and separate her teammates and try to get an early pick to win this team fight. Both these Reinhardts, you're going to have to keep an eye on their shields, because one huge problem we see in a lot of these high school plays is you got to manage that Rein shield so you can protect your teammates. And already we see Hornet eliminate Buzzer very early on. Like I mentioned, with those longer range DPS heroes, they're going to go for that pick and try to win those fights. But already we see D.Va lose her mech, and then Hornet takes out Bouncing Bean from behind with the speed arrow. So already Hornet's a player to watch out for, having 2 eliminations so early on. And now the D.Va even gets the elimination onto the Lucio, so it looks like Hickman's on their back foot already.
Yeah, they are on their back foot. They did manage to dig into the point, and they do have those turrets set up on point. That's the only thing really going for them, that it's putting some damage onto CR3 as they try to push on. But overall, this is going to go in favor of CR3. Hickman getting about a 30% charge there. They do have a good amount of ultimates, though. They are going to have the advantage in that for the next push.
Yeah, CR3 charged their ults very quickly. We saw the Coalescence come out, as well as the Dragon Strike from Hornet. So Hornet's able to charge these ults very fast, as we saw in the JV games, just as well as the Shatter comes out, landing on 4 members, all on point. Thunder getting 2 of those eliminations, with Ray right behind him getting 2 more. And Autumn cleaning up behind. Great push by them. They definitely did not need that phone tog barrier after they threw down that 4-man push, but it's always good to have a little safety net there. So it looks like Hickman immediately takes the point back and already have some more percentage than CR3. So coming into this next fight, we're going to want to keep an eye on Deadly, as he has that Shatter, and Bink is right behind him with that 80% D.Va bomb, as well as Ash with that sound barrier. But Ray has that Bongo for the extra damage boost, along with Buzzer, the Blizzard, and Bouncing with the Amplification Matrix.
Well, both sound barriers are now online for both teams, so any sort of major play with those ultimates is going to have to be countered with that for survivability, as Ducky just has the Deadeye, which is going to be brought out. Is this going to be able to pick off one from Hickman? That Reinhardt is getting mowed down by that car wash, is still going to survive, and now that CR3 has pushed past it and gotten rid of those turrets, they have gotten past the most difficult part, and a huge Blizzard is going to be going on to CR3, but is the damage there to follow up? We did see Sound Barrier was used by Fire to try to help keep them alive, but it wasn't going to be enough in the face of all the damage Hickman was pushing out thanks to that supercharger.
Yeah, Hickman definitely having the ult advantage in these past 2 fights and definitely utilizing it. Another misplay on the side of CR3, with Deadly charging right in when he had the Shatter, not utilizing it at all, and getting, as you mentioned, burned down by that Car Wash Symmetra setup with her turrets on the roof of the point. And even going in alone definitely cost their team dearly. So hopefully in this next final push for this team, they're going to have to get on point and play closely together around the Shatter, as they're entering in with the Dragon Strike from Hornet. Doesn't look like it's going to get elimination, as Deadly is quickly frozen, but he's finally going to pick up one at the tail end with the Shatter back-to-back, but it looks like Thunders is going to land first, with Binky Ducky able to get 2 more, with Frosted getting 2 more himself. And then the Maze able to take out Hornet. It looks like Hickman just had the better fight on point, and they're going to take it.
Well, one thing to keep in mind about Shatter is that it's big, it's flashy, it's showy, we go wild when it gets the whole team. But if you don't have any sort of damage follow-up for it, then the other team just gets up off their feet and goes back to mowing you down. And that's what really confused me there with that Dragon Strike being used before the Shatter, because Hickman just kind of got out of the way on it, and then they were able to counter CR3 Shatter with theirs. So it really, I didn't see any real old kind of synchronization that I would be used to seeing.
Yeah, you definitely want something like a Zarya to have that grab to at least bring the team together, so Dragon Strike can get a lot more value than the single kill it's been getting consistently through this matchup so far. Hickman definitely playing to their close team strengths, as now we see Ray swap over to the D.Va. And on the side of CR3, we're going to see Ash swap over to the Ana and Ducky over to the Mei, as well as CR3 Rebel on the Moira this time. Maybe the increased healing from the Moira this time will make the difference, as we get an early engagement and a great Mei wall from Buzzer, able to separate both the tanks and gets the elimination onto Deadly Mouse once again, all by himself up front, getting just too aggressive of Reinhardt, not having his team behind him, as well as Ducky falls, trying to get Hornet on the right, who is hitting his shots but gets taken out by both DPSs pushing him. Once again, CR3 is playing pretty split, not keeping up with their Reinhardt.
And Hickman's now going to push them up toward the choke point and make some space for themselves. Frosted is able to pick up Deadly Mouse. Ray Glory is going to lose their mech, though. So he's going to have to be very careful on that Baby D.Va. Very low on health. Was able to heal up, though. And if they can time that remech right, that can also be another pick. Or they might just remech right away. So we do see the Blizzard now comes online. Remech is going to go through. Not onto any particular member of CR3 as they're ready for their next push.
Next push indeed, as instantly Amplification Matrix is going down. We see the Shatter is online for Hickman as well, and we know Thunder should be able to hit it as he's been very consistent with it and gets an elimination with the Amplification Matrix on that Flame Strike right onto that Ana. So losing that main DPS is going to definitely hurt CR3 as they lose both Ducky and Deadly right away, even getting killed by the D.Va boosters no less. And as they clean up shop, Hickman is definitely being the dominative force so far in this matchup, and now having 5 ults going into this next fight, it is not looking good for CR3.
Yeah, they're looking very good, and they have also the defensive ultimate that they need in terms of the sound barrier. So any sort of engagement that CR3 tries to have here, Hickman's going to have the ability to also counter it, or even try to use some sort of CC ultimate like the Blizzard or the Shatter on them before they even try to push onto the point.
Yeah, we do see the nano boost from CR3, but a great stunt D.Va bomb combo from both sides, both getting 2 eliminations. Now as we go to the quick brawl on the point, it looks like Frosted's going to get 2 as well as Buzzer gets 1, and that's a team wipe for Hickman, only committing 2 ults to that fight, and Central once again having to re-push the point, but it looks like they're not even going to have time. They're going to have to go full dive with Bink now on the Wrecking Ball. We're going to see Buzzer throw down the Blizzard to try to install out the best he can. Frost is going to throw out his Deadeye, eliminate Bink. We see the headshot come out from the Mei, and Hickman takes game number 1.
Yeah, we saw some great discipline there from Hickman also in their ultimate usage. That's the fact that they only used 2 in that penultimate engagement. Really showed that they were well coordinated and well able to be able to plan ahead. Well, Skulls is the sponsor for the Missouri High School Esports Association, and they provide very high quality gear for these high school teams. So whether you're on the high school level or you're on the collegiate level, we have great companies like Skulls ready to provide you with gear to make you look very professional. And I'm sure you can attest just having those jerseys and all those equipment with your school logo on it, it just kind of makes a little bit of a difference psychologically.
Yeah, just like in Overwatch, we say skins for the win, and so having that skin in real life, having that jersey definitely gives you more motivation. Having your teammates around all in the jersey, all looking professional is definitely a good feeling. And Hickman should definitely be feeling that right now with a pretty solid win on Control as we hop over to the next matchup. Hopefully, CR3 is able to learn a lot from it and bring it closer together, as Deadly Mouse definitely lost them a lot of those fights being so far ahead on that Reinhardt. So hopefully we can see them bring it back.
Hopefully they can. The next choice that they are going to have, though, is on Assault, which, like you said, is going to be fixed maps. So what we really see on Assault is that we've seen kind of mainly... We've seen either Volskaya, Hanamura, or Temple of Anubis. And ultimately, it really kind of determines what kind of the overall strategy these teams are going to be using, because if there's one thing I can tell you about Hybrid, actually, and we're going to be going into Eichenwald, actually, so that is an interesting surprise. But we do see Symmetra is going to be coming out, but it isn't going to be used in combination with the Mei for that particular route for the Rebels.
Yeah, Symmetra's just definitely been a fan favorite for this tournament, as both JV and Varsity have been favoring it on most maps. People really like that car wash and having that teleporter, even offensively or defensively. Frosted on this McCree has also been doing very well. Same with Buzzer on this Mei, but it looks like they're going to go for the teleporter play right on next to point, as Thunder picks up 2 eliminations right off the bat. And once again, Deadly Mouse charges right in and gets eliminated with no team to back him up. Frosted's then definitely going to try to clean up the best he can after getting that elimination. And it looks like Central's teleporters play immediately going to have to restart, as it looks like Ducky's going to swap over to the Junkrat. and Hickman's back on the defense. Hickman's definitely having the stronger showing as a team right now, already charging a lot of ult percentage. Both DPSs at 50, with the Lucio just now getting to 50. Thunder's at the 60, and CR3 doesn't have a single person at 50 as Hornet just now crosses that threshold, with Ducky now swapping back over to the Mei.
Well, now they are up to this choke point. I'm going to try to find some way to push through this arch here, or some sort of Mei wall to try to get one of the members of the QPs off guard here. As we see that damage orb trying to be fired through the archway there. We also see Frosted off to the side there trying to snipe. Ray Glory very low on health, and it's Buzzer who gets the first pick onto Ducky there. And Bink is able to take out Ray Glory's mech. It's now going to be brought down to Baby Diva, but already past halfway charge for that remech, and is indeed going to be able to get that remech as Frosted takes up a double, and Ray Glory and Buzzer gets one for themselves.
Yeah, Buzzer's definitely been popping off in this match, as we saw a great headshot coming up from him as the knockup happened as well. We even saw him engage with that Maywall and separate two members of CR3 as they were trying to retreat on the other side of the archway, no less. So a great push from Hickman.
Well, Hickman talking about their ability to really stir up those ultimates. They're going to have close to all 6 available as Frosted froze out that Deadeye, forcing the Rebels to back up around that corner. And Thunder takes that for a huge shatter as Buzzer goes off to the side to deal with the McCree. And he is indeed taken out while Frosted gets a double on the main route there. And that is another hold for Hickman, using only 2 ultimates, and they still have 4 in their pocket.
Yeah, and even just using those 2, they are able to farm more percentage than Ducky has himself. Thunder landing constant flame strikes onto multiple members, getting that 7% per hit as well. So CR3's definitely got to pull out all the stops to get through to at least touch the point once, as they don't even have the smallest percentage on it with only a minute remaining. We're going to see the Coalescence try to engage, but Deadly gets hit by that flashbang pretty early on. The Diva Bomb committed as well. Immortality Field is going to save a couple lives, but not Bounceman as he's taken out by the Coalescence. We're going to see the solo shatter onto Thunder, and it looks like he's going to get the elimination as Ducky gets the elimination with the flashbang, no less. And it looks like CR3, after committing so much, is going to be able to get the point, as we see the Diva Bomb come out from Ray Glory as well as the Deadeye from Frosted. Looks like they're going to brawl on this point the best they can and try to hold them off, as CR3 is so close to that 100% for the first point. Shatter coming out, landing onto 2 members of CR3. We're going to see the Diva Bomb come out as well as the Dragon Strike, but it looks like it is not enough, with Blizzard coming out from Hickman, getting multiple eliminations. Buzzer, definitely this is his matchup. It looks like with only 18 seconds remaining, Central has to go full dive if they even want to touch the point, but it looks like Hickman's going to take it.
Well, CR3 is going to be using that sound wave trying to get through, but such a great Maywall stops them right in their tracks. They had tunnel vision there, and now they don't know what to do. They're caught in these narrow areas where the Reinhardt is more than happy to swing his hammer back and forth, take out Hornet, with Frosted and Buzzer both getting one for themselves. One does manage to push on to the point to try to get some overtime, but it is not going to be enough, and that is going to be Hickman stopping the payload from even moving 1 meter.
Yeah, we saw Bink swap over to the Wrecking Ball, and he was able to get to the point, but using that Diva Bomb to just zone him off and time out was a great play by Hickman. Hickman definitely being the dominative force in this matchup so far. So going on to them attacking, I expect this to go very quickly with how well they've been playing as a team in this high school varsity level.
Yeah, the QP's definitely soaring above with an angelic performance above CR3, who is going to have to put up as good, if not a better defense than Hickman managed to do. I would be curious if we even see Hickman just trying to, they already have 1/2 of kind of that Mei symmetric comp, if they would just want to try to end this quickly and get to the point fast, but it looks like they're not going to be going for that.
Yeah, Buzzer and Frosted have definitely been on their comfort picks all game long, with that Mei and McCree being able to get so much value, constant DPS output, and a lot of great headshots from both of them, even with that Icicle right click from Mei. She's been nailing those headshots, and CR3 has definitely been paying with dividends on that. looks like we're even going to see Bink on the Roadhog this time. Definitely not the stall-out hero you want to see, not having that barrier. He will have that self-sustain, but having those two main healers, he doesn't need it. Maybe he's going to try to hook someone out and get that early pick. And CR3 will definitely need to hold them off for as long as they need to. Hornet and Ducky definitely liking their Mei and Hanzo, but not getting the value that Frosted and Bouncer have so far. Already claiming the high ground. Ray Glory commanding that spot. We're going to see a great Mei wall for the rotation, and already on point with the charge on both sides. And Anti goes on to Ray, but it looks like it's not even going to be enough as he's quickly going to get up. No damage to follow it up with that sleep. Tries to stay alive, but is going to lose. The Mech Thunder is able to take out the Ana as well as Ducky on that Mei. And if they are already dominating this as much as they are, we're going to see Bink get the one elimination he was seeking with that hook. But he's going to quickly get collapsed on. Same with the Moira by Frosted. And it looks like Hickman in one team fight is going to take this.
That was amazing. Hickman definitely aware of Mei's strengths. I mean, when you have her in the right hands and the ability to just get those headshots, she can put out so much damage, but it's just the fact that not only does she have the damage, but she has so much ability to control where the fight happens on the playfield, whether it's through the blizzard or being able to put up those Mei walls. And we have definitely been seeing those walls come through in spades. Well, another look at some of the showcases that Skulls has in terms of esports equipment. You can check them out to be able to try to represent your high school in the best way. And definitely I got to hand it out to some of these players. They are doing some of these designs, I have to say. They are really something to look at.
Yeah, and as we mentioned prior, when you're looking good and feeling good, you're going to play good just as well as Hickman, hopefully, because Hickman has definitely been the dominating force, as we say so many times, going into this next map. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 3-0 series at this varsity level. You got to have that higher level play than JV and play close as a team, and that's something that CR3 definitely needs to take notes about and learn coming up, since this is the quarterfinals at the moment, and with semifinals coming up tomorrow, as well as the finals and the JV finals. It's definitely going to be something that they want to fight for.
Yeah, Hickman just moved so well coordinated as a team there, and that was compared to, you know, CR3. They've just been having trouble with their Ryan just charging in, and then he's just surrounded and focused down, and then the team doesn't have their front line anymore. You know, you got to coordinate where it is, because it's so tempting. You've got a big man with a hammer who can just charge into anybody. It's tempting to hit that shift and just charge forward, but if you're not coordinated with your team, you'll be left high and dry.
Yeah, it's definitely all about that self-restraint, being that main tank. You also got to watch your shield and keep your team alive without losing it, or else you're going to have to suffer that cooldown for it. Going into this next full escort map, we're going to see Ducky now on the Soldier, with no change on the side of Hickman, except for Buzzer and Frosted are actually going to swap roles, with Buzzer now on the McCree and Frosted gonna upshow Hornet on the Hanzo. We're also gonna see a div off between Ray and Bink, with Bink already losing their mech. Ray close behind them. Early engagement already. Nobody going for the boop, even with the Lucy on the side of Hickman, but it looks like Buzzer's gonna get the elimination onto Deadly Mouse early on, which, if anything has been a tell, it's losing your Reinhardt means you'll lose the team fight. And already CR3's going back to spawn, waiting for their Reinhardt to come back so they can push forward once again. Losing that time is not good. You definitely want to get that push started. It seems that CR3's one member's too aggressive and the rest aren't aggressive enough, as they're just getting picked apart, as Frosted gets a great snipe onto the Ana of CR3, as well as Buzzer is going to be able to pick up Ducky, and Thunder gets a double elimination onto both Deadly and Rebel, followed quickly behind by Ray and the Lucio, who Hickman's definitely playing the team play, as they already have a Deadeye and a Dragon Strike and the Shatter online, with CR3's own Dragon Strike close behind with the Coalescence. So they don't really have an answer for these three ults. The Deadeye is going to be popped, but it looks like Ray Glory is going to get taken out as the remix coming on. Buzzer's going to be able to get at least one elimination with that Deadeye onto Hornet, so losing that long-range DPS is not great. But a three-man shatter coming out from CR3, finally getting some value from that aggressive Reinhardt. We're even going to see an elimination from the Coalescence that was popped. Looks like Hickman's almost going to get team-wiped with Ray responding just in time.
Now they have gotten onto the payload, but they had to use basically everything they had in their arsenal for that. The good news is that they are so close to charging back up on 3 of these ultimates. They are going to have a lot of ways to follow up any sort of damage, but they don't have the CC to be able to stop Hickman in their tracks. As Frosted is going to throw out, we're going to have 2 Dragon Strikes put out there, as well as the Tactical Visor being brought up, able to take out Bean, and that is a great pick off of there, as well as taking out Thunder. But it's the DPSs with that able to click heads that is going to try to turn it around for Hickman, as the Lucio B tries to keep this fight going even longer, as Buzzer is charged up again on that Deadeye. He is so fast on being able to charge that up, and they have been able to drag this out, turn the fight around into their favor, and stop the first checkpoint from being taken.
Yeah, Hickman having that spawn advantage definitely helped them continue the fight on that brawl and the first checkpoint. We even saw the problem when you run the Moira Ana combo. We saw Ana sleep Thunder, but immediately that right click auto-aimed onto the sleeping, and he was back up in the fight. So definitely Hickman with that winning strat so far with the Lucio Baptiste. We're going to see the amplification matrix come out for the side of Hickman, so already CR3 is going to have to back off and line of sight it. Ziana's doing her best to try to heal up the team, and a great sleep onto Ray up top as well, but it looks like he's not going to be able to keep the mech alive by himself. And a great Flame Strike once again from Thunder, able to get the elimination onto Ana consistently as the DPS clean up the rest of the team. CR3 is reset and back at spawn with only 3 ults going into this next push, where you're going to see Hornet swap over to the McCree this time off that Hanzo, as Ducky swapped over to the Junkrat. Try to burn through that Reinhardt shield that has been so consistent for Hickman, as Buzzer pops his Deadeye. Definitely going to be able to pick up one onto Hornet, proving that he is already the better McCree with the quick swap. We're going to see the Nano and the Coalescence come out here for the start of this team fight, as Deadly Mouse is able to get one elimination onto Thunder, but simply not reaching the cart in time. Hickman pulls it out with CR3, just not... They had the ults, they had the aggressiveness, they just forgot about the objective.
I mean, Hickman's strategy was really just having these long-range DPSs that really reward accuracy, and you saw in how fast they were able to charge up their ultimates. Those 2 DPSs, I mean, you know that they've been practicing so much to get their skills up to that level. And really, Thunder is a DPS almost in his own right, just on how much he is able to land that Flame Strike and take out CR3. So really, you've got a three-pronged frontline threat from Hickman here.
Yeah, and again, praise to Thunder. He's being that frontline tank that you want. He's absorbing a lot of damage, so his team's staying behind him. And that's another reason why both Buzzer and Frosted are able to get so many eliminations and charge their ult so fast, because Deadly Mouse is all the way up front, swinging and charging in. His team's just exposing, getting picked off by these long-range DPSs. So I'll have to see if on the defense, they'll play a bit more reserved and as a team, or else this is going to be a 3-0 series and Hickman's going to go on to the semifinals.
I do have to wonder what sort of pick Ducky wants to pick here, because as much as I love Junkrat, I haven't really been seeing a whole lot of value being brought through with that. Now, there might be a little bit more value on defense for him, but unless they can have the sort of control to be able to push Hickman into those small areas or small rooms off to the side, it's going to be a lot harder to get the value out of those bombs.
Yeah, only having that one Reinhardt shield to try to burst down is not going to benefit him the most, especially going up against Buzzer on this Doomfist this time around. We're going to see Frosted get a great follow-through with that Sonic Arrow, taking out Ducky as he landed because the Ryan shield was not up. CR3 already definitely having to play further back with those aggressiveness team play, with Buzzer just causing havoc in the back line. Already Deadly Mouse getting eliminated and Thunder getting a double kill onto the McCree and the Moira, with Lucio even getting the melee elimination onto Ana. CR3 is going to have pretty much one more team push to try to stop this from getting close. So we're going to see the scout arrow out to the baby Diva, and not even the execute. He's just going to stand and look and get the last hit as he loses his life to Hornet. Now on the Soldier 76, Ducky almost swapped over, but is just going to lose his ult percentage by hovering the hero, as Thunder gets the elimination onto the end lane, Mouse proving he is the better Reinhardt in this matchup, as Buzzer gets double elimination, and Hickman takes it because CR3 simply could not get to the cart as a team, and Hickman is on to the semifinals.
Yeah, my eyes were wide open as I saw Ducky charging in as the Reaper there, as all other members were gone, and that just started the stagger of one at a time, which is not going to work against a fully coordinated team. So that is a very commanding win for Hickman. Is going to be moving on to the semifinals with authority. And that is going to do it for the first match that we do have right now. But we still have 3 quarterfinal matches to get to, and you are watching the Missouri High School Esports Association Overwatch. We'll be taking a short break, but when we return, we'll see the anticipated matchup between Blue Springs and Columbia Independent, and make sure you're following our channel, and we'll be right back very soon.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
While I go to school full-time.
While I work full-time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Missouri High School Scholastic Esports Federation and their quarterfinals as we are wrapping up their spring Overwatch season. And the next match is going to be CVC versus Rockridge. I know I left saying Blue Springs. We'll get to them, but in the third match. But right now it is going to be CVC versus Rockridge. I'm Jem, joined by Brenner Bear. And Brenner, I think the main trend that we're going to see tonight is who can have the best coordination as a team and move best as a team, because that was the main thing that separated Hickman versus CR3. Was CR3's, they were more uncoordinated, and there were more times where they were just rushing in one at a time rather than just as a whole team.
Yeah, it's definitely you want to see it when it comes to the varsity squad of your high school. And once again, we can bring up Doc's keys to the game. He mentioned tempo, tempo, tempo. So when your team is offset, we saw the Reinhardt really aggressive and the rest of his team further back behind him. It can definitely offset you. As you mentioned, they began to just simply trickle in and lose their life one after another. Whereas Hickman played very close together, definitely knew each other's rhythm, and won the fight, which brought him to the 3-0. So going into the next matchup, it's something you want to see from both these teams, and we know CBC can do it, especially if their JV can be so dominative in their own rights.
Well, let's take an overall look at the bracket. We can see it is going to be CBC versus the Rockbridge Bruins here in round 2. This is the quarterfinals. Who will be moving on to face the Cupies in the semifinals? And of course, after that, we will have Blue Springs versus Vianney there, and Ozark versus WNR9 Tigris Dios. So we're going to be wanting to look forward to that as we move on with the proceedings tonight. And as you mentioned earlier, Brenner, Doc's keys to the game are one of the things that our teams are going to have to keep in mind. But again, it is CBC versus the Rockbridge Bruins here in the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation. Their spring Overwatch tournament. We will see who moves on to the semifinals. And Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch is to never take a fair fight. That means to take fights in unexpected places when they are unprepared, and tempo, 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 as you were talking about, Brenner. Brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Quick and accurate identity trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com. Okay, so we move on to Control, which, if we are to believe that all the maps are the same, we will be starting off yet again on Nepal. Yes, we are.
Yeah, and starting with Shrine, we've seen a lot of pharmacy in the JV League, and it looks like none of the varsities are going to bring it out, especially on this map, which is so bad for it, but we saw it pay off in the previous matchup. So going into this one, we're going to see a little bit of a mirror match going on here with both the Baptiste, Lucio, McCree, and May. It's just going to be the tanks that make the difference here, with both being complete opposites. We're going to see the Ryan Zarya and the Orisa Diva, with already Lucio and Orisa falling very quickly to the Ryan and Lucio of the opposite team, and looks like the Baptiste is going to be able to take down the May. So already a very good starting fight for CBC.
Yeah, that was a great start. They are already going to be very close to having their Amp Matrix and their Shatter available to them. As Rockbridge is struggling more to build up their charges. They're a little bit closer on the Amp Matrix, and the Maywall is going to be thrown out. It was trying to split off CBC, but instead just kind of closed themselves off, or they might have just been trying to get some cover from CBC's relentless push here, and they are already taking out Domo and Azure as Joe gets the triple, and the rest are just going to fall off the edge. Let the team wipe go through and reset as a full team.
Yeah, CBC is definitely the dominating force so far, as we're going to see that D.Va swap over the Zarya for a second and then back and then forth. Just losing that old percentage, making your team wait for you, having the Lucio having to go back and speed you back. So it looks like they're going to go for the full mirror match here with their own Rein Zarya combo. As the amplification matrix goes down, we're going to see a great flame strike and the 3-man shatter coming out from Joe. CBC's going for that team wipe, and they're going to get it.
That was an amazing play right there. Not only such a huge shatter, but the wall behind it to stop anyone from escaping. And they, of course, had the damage follow-up to get as much mileage as they could. They are making so much space for their team, not even allowing Rockbridge to get close to this point. So now Rockbridge is going to be able to have the Blizzard here. CBC doesn't have their sound barrier, and they are just going to preemptively use his Graviton Surge as the Deadeye is going to pick up the Mei there. And CBC is now down 2. Rockbridge is going to now try to push forward through the point, but they're still having trouble, and the Reinhardt gets taken down there. And Joe is answering that back with his own shatter and a triple on top of that. So even when Rockbridge was able to get a few picks there, they are just having such trouble to just, push through to the actual point that it allowed CBC to just coast to victory.
Yeah, Rockbridge not able to push through that opening choke point, putting so much pressure as best they could, but with that Graviton Surge and Immortality Field, they could not stay alive long enough. They committed so much to that final fight with their own Blizzard, and they got some eliminations, but CBC simply were, at that point, just started to outplay them as they were so close together in that small little room. So going on to the next map in this mirror match, it seems, with just now Kale swapping over to the Symmetra, changing it up ever so slightly, but it looks like Rockbridge is going to follow them closely behind with Domo on the Symmetra, but with Cam now on the Winston, they're going for a bit more of a higher speed play. We'll have to see if this will pay off for him coming up, with Kale now swapping over to the Echoes again, making his team wait for him, but he'll be able to catch up just fast enough with his flight ability.
Rockbridge is definitely going to try to set up those turrets now with the last-minute swap from Kale onto this Echo. We see they're going to be trying to take out the teleporter there and now push on, but they got to be aware of those turrets, and that stun onto Ice there is going to be able to pick him off. Now they just need to be able to push through with the support to survive that initial damage from the turrets that were set up. As Kale takes out Azura, and then is going to get a triple, actually. Make that a quadruple for Rockbridge, now going on to 5 there. And what a play for CBC. They have taken the point back, not even allowing Rockbridge to get 10%.
Yeah, we saw Odin with his Reinhardt just not able to look in a specific spot, going back and forth, just constantly taking damage from his back, with CBC just surrounding both sides of the point. And losing that Reinhardt so quickly means you do not have that barrier to keep the rest of your team alive. We're going to see the teleporter play come right onto point. They're going to go straight for Joe, but they're not even going to be able to get him as the photon barrier goes down. They're finally going to be able to get one elimination with the sentry turrets onto the enemy Lucio, as he's taking a lot of poke damage from the enemy crew. We're going to see Kale fall eventually to Cam as well, as more turrets go down on the point, definitely setting up the best they can. But with CBC throwing down their amplification matrix, a great Mei wall is going to come out from Rockbridge to line of sight it the best they can. And with a lot of HP low on the side of Rockbridge, CBC can definitely bring this back.
They're going to be using a double Deadeye there to take out 2 members of Rockbridge, following that up by taking out Lil Lucio and Ice. CBC now just pushes back onto the point and takes it. And Rockbridge having a hard time keeping what they're fighting so hard to get, but they are going to have a slight advantage in the ultimates that they have.
Yeah, already this is a much more even map for Rockbridge, as they've been able to get on point and some percentage this time around. They're going to go for the teleporter play one more time, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, even though they've lost. So we'll have to wait and see if this amplification matrix will make the difference, as CBC simply just lines of sights it and goes around. We're going to see the Blizzard come out from Rockbridge, actually, and it's going to freeze 2 members, as they're not going to be able to eliminate Kale, who was frozen. They're just going to focus down the Lucio and take it out. Kale's going to use the duplicate, but is going to get eliminated very quickly. The amplification matrix now coming out from the side of CBC. but it looks like it's going to get pretty line of sight with how many members were already gone, not having any DPS there to back it up. And it looks like CBC is definitely going to have to pull back here to get their DPS back for this next push.
Yeah, Nate still hasn't responded yet there. Joe has the Shatter available, though. And is going to go right on with a huge Shatter and Flamestruck to follow it up. Look at that! 5 taken out with that hammer and the help from the Graviton Surge from the Zarya. That is some great coordination there, and the tanks coming through in force for CBC.
Yeah, the tank players have definitely been the ones you want to keep your eye on because they have made all of the difference in these games we've had so far tonight. So going into this next fight, Eclipse on this Zarya has been making the difference with her Graviton Surges and Joe getting all the eliminations. And already in the start of this fight, we're going to see the Lucio 1v1 happen. It looks like CBC is going to take that win. And again, with Joe winning his 1v1 against their own Reinhardt, now seems CBC definitely had an early start on that play, expecting that teleporter play. Rockbridge has to come up with something new now.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is they've been sticking on this Symmetra. It's time to swap off and try something new. If you were going to try to maybe take a different route, that might be one thing, but they already have tried the exact same route twice. And look, they're doing it the exact same thing a third time, and Joe is waiting for them with that Shatter. And they are all just wiped out in an instant there. So a bit too much repetition and strategy from Rockbridge is going to cost them that point and the first game.
Yeah, CBC showing that they're here to win for sure, with Rockbridge being the broken record that they were that game. They just kept going for that teleporter play, and eventually CBC's like, you keep going for it, we'll keep breaking it. And they definitely broke it that time. So hopefully going on to this next map, they'll come up with something different and change it up.
That's something that also plagued kind of the other two teams that we saw last night in Colorado State versus Fresno. On the collegiate level, but especially from Colorado State, we just saw such a stubbornness from them to swap off of these heroes like the Symmetra. And it's something, you know, you try your one play, you try to catch them off guard, get to the point. If it doesn't work, now we'll go on to a more standard comp. But Colorado State kind of having the same mentality as Rockbridge here is, no, we're going to make Symmetra work, and we're going to try to do the same thing over and over again until it does work. But eventually the other team just kind of catches on.
Yeah, and it looks like Rockbridge is already going to ditch it out with now little Lucio on the Doomfist and Domo on the McCree. Still trying to go for that mirror match with this time only Kale on the Mei, changing it up. I definitely would favor Kale here, as the Mei can shut down Doomfist quite hard if he stands still just too long. Especially having that Mei wall we saw in the previous matchup, being able to shut down rotations and block members off can definitely swing the team fight in your favor as we jump into the very start of this brawl. See, Rockbridge being very aggressive.
Oh, that Mei wall, getting the Reinhardt off guard. That was so beautiful. Textbook what you want to be able to do with Mei, and all the other members of the team fall one after the other. Can they get the full team wipe? Domo's just going to barely get away from that, but perfectly played there from CBC.
Yeah, little Lucio couldn't even get to the back line. We saw him jump up to the bridge, and immediately Fizz was there, answered him, and got the triple headshot, eliminating him right away. So we have to see a huge change here from the side of Rockbridge if they want to be able to push through and not get Mei walled off. As we've mentioned so many times prior, this Mei is really going to define how they push this point, because if they eliminate her, they will definitely get onto point. But already Doomfist in the backline able to take out Nade. Losing that DPS is not great, but he's followed so low. Eclipse is going to be able to get the elimination as Domo takes out the Lucio. But Joe gets that shatter onto the remaining member of the team. And it looks like Rockbridge is reset once again.
That looked like it could have been the start of something nice for Rockbridge. I do appreciate Lil Lucio's kind of gusto there in getting the pick, but just wasn't able. In fact, I think ran into a wall in trying to get away. And if he wasn't able to get that split-second escape there, then he instead was just, the pick he got was just evened out there by himself being taken out. And now we see Rockbridge just really, now they're going to try to push through with the Rhine again. Here goes Lil Lucio trying to get another pick as the Blizzard is thrown out. and with the help of that Blizzard and May there, they were just able to take him out there. Domo, followed by Azur, is going to be eliminated by Rockbridge. Now the Reinhardt, can they get? No, they escape yet again. But they're still just perfectly happy to burn off the time from this clock, which is now below 2 minutes.
Yeah, and in that previous fight, we also saw Rockbridge throw down the amplification matrix as they died, so kind of the panic ult there that you never want to see from the varsity team of your school. But going into this next fight, at least they'll have that Deadeye and maybe the Grav along with the Meteor Strike and Shatter if they're able to charge it before they push in. They're getting very close to that amplification matrix as well, so they're going to have a lot of ults going to this fight if they time it well. But on the side of CBC, they're going to use that Grav Surge right off the bat. They don't have Shatter to follow it up, and Nate's going to get eliminated very quickly from that Meteor Strike, not able to use that Deadeye, and Domo's going to be able to pick off Eclipse as well.
And now we see Deadeye being brought out by Domo is only going to take out the Lucio there. And that's going to be enough for them to keep pushing forward as Kale. And now Joe is taken out by Lil Lucio and Domo. And after a lot of repeated attempts, Rockbridge has now taken the payload and they're going to push forward.
Yeah, already doing better than they did on Control, able to at least take the first point and get some progress with it as CBC regroups, sticking with their current comp as it's been working quite well for the most part. They just lost that last team fight due to the ult difference there. But now they're going into this next team fight with 3, almost 4, with Sound Barrier right behind and Rockbridge only having the 2. The Amplification Matrix is going to go down, as well as a good Maywall, but just barely going to get light aside. But with Nade up top, able to get a 3-man Deadeye, then gets a quad to follow it up. And there's the team wipe.
And the great thing is that CBC, their Lucio, held on to that sound barrier, and that's going to be very crucial here because Rockbridge could very possibly try to start this out with the Shatter, with the Graviton Surge, and if that Lucio can just keep himself out of the line of those ultimates and then sound barrier right after that, they have the perfect counter for Rockbridge's next push. It's going to have to be determined, though, how these teams use their ultimates as Immortality Field thrown down. There goes the Shatter from Joe, though, first, and that's going to catch Rockbridge off guard. They're going to be just piled through there as 4 members are taken out. There's only Kamas left, and is he going to? No, he's not going to survive. And that is another team wipe for CBC.
Yeah, CBC with these Shadows have definitely defined their play style, and Rockbridge still not swapping off that Doomfist. That definitely doesn't really fit with this team comp with how brawly they've been around the cart. He's definitely more of the dive hero and does not have the healing to support him, which is why he falls so early in these fights. Yes, he's able to get the 1 Meteor Strike kill so early on, but throwing the grab out, as well as the Blizzard and Meteor Strike, he doesn't even get the elimination this time, but the Domo with his Deadeye is able to pick up 1, but is immediately re-answered with Eclipse on the Diva. You see the flashbang come up, but May's able to just cryo freeze it out. Able to Maywall for safety as Eclipse throw down their own Diva Bomb. Looks like it's not going to be able to pick anyone up. And Rockbridge kind of winning this fight, actually, is able to get CBC to retreat, and now they're pushing the cart.
Yeah, they had to expend so many ultimates for that right now. If CBC can just push as a team again, and unfortunate there, that flashbang pushing little Lucio right off the edge, going to be followed up with the Deadeye and Amp Matrix taking out Zarya, and another huge Shatter is going to be plowing right into Rockbridge, followed up by Fitch taking out Odin Hollow there, and now Eclipse also getting rid of Domo, followed by Ice. One after the other, they're left with only about 30 seconds left. But now the same problem that Rockbridge had is now facing CBC. They did a great job there, but now they've used every ultimate that they have, and Rockbridge is going to have the advantage for this crucial last fight, which they need to pick up.
Yeah, they're going to have to go in with these ults since Joe has consistently got about 3 members in every Shatter he's put down. So now it's definitely up to Rockbridge with their 4 ults. They have to use them, but he's not even going to use the Shatter before Fitz is able to eliminate their own Ryan. The Deadeye's going to come out as Lil Lucio's doing his best to disrupt that backline. Domo's going to be able to pick up 1, but it comes down to brawling on the cart, and not having your main tank is not what you want to see, as the Meteor Strike comes out from Lil Lucio and is going to land on the Maywall and be able to eliminate at least 2 there. So good on Lil Lucio, able to pick off the remaining two members of CBC, but now it's all down to this final fight from the side of CBC. They're going to have to regroup and try to contest this final checkpoint.
Ooh, it's going to be very close for them. They do have enough for one more team fight. If they're able to survive for just long enough, Eclipse has now just respawned, is going to be rushing back. They need to contest this, though, as they are able to peel off the Doomfist there. Doomfist hops back over the May wall, though, and is able to pick up a double, with Domo now getting rid of Lucio, and with no ultimates expended by Rockbridge, CBC falls, and now they have to defend the last point.
Yeah, but CBC held them for so well for so long that as soon as they got the cart moving, Rockbridge definitely kept that momentum going forward. And now with 4 ults online to CBC's 1, quickly followed by 3 more, hopefully they'll be able to farm them going into this team fight, so they'll have the advantage. But it all comes down to these shatters as another triple shatter comes down from Rockbridge.
That is such a nice shatter from Rockbridge. CBC now coming online with 3 of their ultimates. But Eclipse being taken out of that Diva. Mech needs to survive. The McCree trying to get some headshots onto KO here. He's taking a lot of damage, and that's a great shatter onto Rockbridge. Can they follow that up with damage? Doomfist comes in to get rid of that immortality field, and CBC is now able to take out 3 members of Rockbridge as that amplification matrix is thrown down in the fight, trying to keep it, but they are going to fall in that team fight. And now CBC is looking at one more fight that they got to hold here.
Yeah, definitely sticking to their guns, not swapping comp at all, even for this closer range area of this final checkpoint. Little Lucio is definitely going to suffer here for his damage, trying to disrupt that backline, but with it being so close together, the tanks can definitely just turn around quickly as the grab comes down, but right next to the amplification matrix, so they're still in it and get that benefit. The immortality is going to go down, as well as Joe from Little Lucio. Little Lucio playing close to his team. As we mentioned, you got to have that rhythm and harmony as the D-Mech kill comes in with that buff for the 250 damage onto the Reinhardt, no less. Being low health is not what you want to see for a Reinhardt, as Nade wins the 1v1 against Domo. CBC with that spawn advantage is definitely going to hold them the best they can, as Rockbridge probably going to have to go for the reset here as Joe comes in with the double kill.
Well, it's not just the spawn advantage, it's now having that sound barrier online, which gives them so much sustain on this point. Rockbridge just trying to keep it going, but they are not going to make it there. And CBC coming back and recovering, but I was a little bit worried for them a little bit midway through that fight, because we saw as they were, as Rockbridge was nearing that first checkpoint, we saw a little bit of too much panic ulting there. You know, I saw the Baptiste throw down that amplification matrix when all of his team members had been taken out. So as much as it can really mesh when you're all working together and coordinating your ultimates, you got to make sure that your nerves don't get to you when things start to not go your way.
Yeah, Rockbridge came close, but flew too close to the sun and lost it in the end. So now it's going to come down to CBC, and they're going to have to go pretty much all the way. Have to see if they'll even take the point faster than Rockbridge did. They win this first team fight, it'll definitely lead to a possible snowball, but now we're finally seeing a change up in the team composition of Rockbridge, now on the Echo instead of the Doomfist. It is a better pick for the defense with that aerial sky, but you're going to have to watch out for Nade, who's been hitting consistent shots and winning the 1v1 against Domo. So I'll have to see how that matchup plays out, as already Rockbridge holding a little bit further back than the archway we typically see.
Well, CBC, the way that they can get the advantage over Rockbridge here is really if they are able to really push on to the point in their first or even second attempt, because as long as it felt to go with all of that pushing from Rockbridge, they really struggled to take that first point, and it was really at the last moment they were able to start to get that payload moving. So Lil Lucio is trying to hop into the back line, get some sort of pick there. Diva Wall comes up there. Lil Lucio is able to be taken out by Nade, and now the rest of the team pushes on with Reinhardt leading the way, gets stunned there and goes very low on health, but the freeze onto the enemy Reinhardt is going to buy them some time, as well as the May Wall, stopping them from backing up, and that wall and maul is going to come out with Joe swinging right into Rockbridge, picking up that double. Domo soon follows afterwards, and this is what CBC needed to win. Get that point in your first push and build up a huge time sink.
Yeah, Echo was definitely not making the difference there as we see him immediately swap back to Doomfist, but you can't contest a Mei fighting close range like that, especially with that wall getting so much value, cutting off multiple members and the freezes, as you mentioned, saving Joe's life when he was so low. So you have to think, what can Rockbridge do with kind of their broken record team comp with Lil Lucio getting a lot of 1v1 wins, but not really making that difference as he gets a great flashbang off. Good on Nade. He doesn't even get the elimination either, as there he goes with the fan, the hammer. Lil Lucio going too far ahead of his team and paid for his life for it.
Look, Lil Lucio, you gotta find some other strategy here, as that hammer is gonna go on to 2 members. They're gonna take out Immortality Field and just follow it up. And one of their members, I do think it is still Nade, is just chilling on the point, as they are already halfway there to the first checkpoint. But you can't charge onto the point, Lil Lucio, and try to get the pick onto Nade there, because he's already shown that he has the ability to stun you. He has the skill to take you out right after that. So all these squishies that you're trying to get picks on, they definitely have the skills to survive your onslaught.
Yeah, and already we've seen the skill gap here with CBC doing the close hold, having 1 member on cart rather than what Rockbridge did, having all of them. The amplification in the Matrix and the Deadeye comes out, but it's going to be simply Maywald, so he's going to have to back off. We're going to see Lil Lucio able to pick up 1, but Joe's going to be able to charge 1 off the edge, with Homo finally picking up 1, but with that Blizzard, he's quickly disabled. We're going to see Lil Lucio able to get the Meteor Strike kill onto Kale, but with so few members left alive, we're going to see another amazing shatter come out. And the tanks making all the difference, as we mentioned earlier on. The tanks make all the difference. Even if your DPS are doing great, if the tanks aren't dead, you're going to fall. So CBC takes the point and has 5 minutes remaining.
And Lil Lucio, this Doomfist isn't working out. I mean, swap to something like a Mei. We have seen so many great Mei walls from CBC. You know, everyone talks about, you know, oh, the defense matrix can eat any ultimate, but so many of these Mei walls have been able to negate ultimates, and they're going to try to bring almost everything they have out there. But the Immortality Field was just thrown down to keep CBC alive, and now they have the sound barrier. This is still very much winnable for them, as KO takes out Azura, and now they have the advantage. They're going to break that Rhine shield, keep pushing forward with KO getting the pick onto Dobo. Eclipse following that up onto Odin there, and also a Graviton Surge. Really didn't need it to be used there. That was much more of a win-more composition, win-more situation. And I actually think they're kind of wishing they might have it here. Maybe they don't even need it, though, as those great picks from the Baptiste were able to stop Rockbridge from contesting the point, and CBC gets their 2nd win.
Yeah, they tried for the mirror match and simply couldn't win it. As we keep pointing out, Lil Lucio was not making the difference there on that Doomfist.
Well, as Brenner said earlier, skins can equal wins, and if you want just in real life to have some of the best equipment out there and the uniforms for your team, you can contact Skulls, which is supporting so many of these high school teams which are starting to compete in the esports scene. So some great high quality material that you can go to them to find out how to best represent your school. And CBC is definitely representing themselves well. Already on to match point, is going to be moving on to the 3rd and final map, which, as it seems that the maps are just kind of a set pick, we should be seeing the same one that we saw last time, and we are going to be, yes, moving on to Rialto. And if it goes to a map 4, it looks like Volskaya is on the docket for that one.
Yeah, I have to wait and see. It's been a pretty strong showing for CBC, so I won't be surprised if we see another 3-0 here, because it's kind of been that skill gap of CBC has the flexibility, and the other team simply did not. So going into this, we should hopefully not see a mirror match.
What we need to see is, you know, the meta's the meta for a reason, and trying to use these, you know, this Doomfist to try to get your pick, or trying to do this hero play, it just really isn't working out when there are so many hero. There's just the hero like the Mei, which CBC has been proven has such utility with that wall, not only offensively, but being able to cancel entire Deadeyes and buy yourself more time from the team. I just think that Rockbridge needs to get their strategy together and get their picks better, because they're just sticking on too much stuff that isn't really getting a lot of mileage for them.
Yeah, and since this is CBC versus Rockbridge, already in a 2-1 situation, Looks like Kale's now going to show up Lil Lucio on this Echo, with Lil Lucio now on the Genji and Cam on the Sig.
Which it's interesting, Lil Lucio is really trying to kind of go for these divey heroes, but is actually just going to, it looks like we're going to see a bit of pirate ship being brought out here, so I like this change up in strategy. Let's see how well they can push it forward, but like the Symmetra, and Rockbridge needs to know this, once you've pushed as far as you can with that Bastion, it is time to swap off and choose something else. You can't do what you did in the first round and try to use your Symmetra teleport again and again and again. Right now, they're able to take out the soldier there, Lil Lucio is now going to try to mow down Joe, but a great pick there from Nade is going to stop them. Now, they still manage to keep the point going, and overall, they can recover here and keep pushing.
Yeah, CBC definitely did their best to stall it out, but with the aggressiveness of that Bastion, even at close range, without the Orisa shield to protect him or the Mercy damage boost, they're able to get it going. But now with Eclipse on this Roadhog, he's going to look for that hook on the Bastion. And with the swap for the Reinhardt player, now with Junior on it, have to see if he will make all the difference going up against Joe, who already has his Shatter, but the Zerg quickly follow behind with that Amplification Matrix, and Joe's going to get a measly little triple kill there for his team, followed closely by Eclipse on the double. Rockbridge still sticking with this Bastion, probably just going to try to get tank for him, but he's going to go back to Doomfist and see if he'll be able to make the difference, even though he hasn't in the past.
I mean, the problem is that it's such a mobile, divey type of hero, and Rockbridge really hasn't committed to that sort of divey composition. So if they wanted to go full dive, that's one thing, but it just doesn't have too much synergy with the more brawly style that Reinhardt brings to the table. But Joe is taken out there. A Deadeye is trying to be brought out there. He's trying to find some sort of pick, but the Reinhardt is going to hold up his shield, and he is going to be taken out. And a great pick there from Eclipse on that Roadhog, who was already built very close up to his whole hog there. They are going to be able to hold Rockbridge from getting that first checkpoint.
Yeah, Fitz on this Baptiste, showing that he is his own DPS, getting a triple there, even using his Amplification Matrix, and just farming kills off Rockbridge, who simply paid no mind to small little Baptiste, who's a support, but he can output damage. Just watch our very own Asu do it multiple times. So I have to wait and see what Rockbridge is going to do to answer. We're going to see the Deadeye come out from Domo and able to pick one onto Nade, as Junior is chasing down Joe for this Reinhardt 1v1. The duplicate's going to come out onto Reinhardt as well, as a great Shatter comes out to eliminate that duplicate right off the bat. But already tanks in the backline taking out two members of Rockbridge with the whole hog coming out. Junior falling very low. They're going to have to fall back with another Shatter coming out here from Joe. Almost getting the team wipe, but with Ice and Lil Lucio getting eliminated so early on, they're going to get the respawn, and CBC wins the team fight.
Now, I find it interesting that Eclipse has gone onto this Roadhog, and Roadhog can be a bit of a wild card because it really depends on the overall skill of who's piloting him. If you can be so accurate on those hooks and continue to take out those squishies in the back line, you can really mess with the other team, but we have seen other times where someone's picked a Roadhog and it just hasn't worked out. So no, Gravitic Flux is going to be used by the Sigma here, but Lil Lucio is taken out by the Roadhog as Nade is eliminated by Azur, and Domo also picking up KO. Joe and Roadhog answering that back though, and the tanks coming through again for CBC. A double Deadeye is turning it around though in Rockbridge's favor, but they have had so much trouble keeping the fight going and getting onto this point, and Eclipse very low on health, needs to survive so he can take a breather. He does though, and that hook is going to miss once again, and the sustain, the pure sustain from CBC and their ability to keep fighting on the point has been something to behold, and it is going to pay off for them so well here as they have been able to keep Rockbridge from getting to this first checkpoint, and a great hook there onto the Sig is going to take him out. Lil Lucio going to try to turn around with the Meteor Strike. I don't even see it. There's the target there. They're just all going to turn around. Yeah, just charge into him, end the match right there, and take your victory. Well, almost take your victory. Just got to get to that first checkpoint now on attack.
Yeah, CBC committed almost all of their ults right there. We saw the Deadeye, the Duplicate, the Shatter, and Rockbridge's own Meteor Strike. But the Sigma also doesn't really work with this comp as how little damage he outputs as well as the small shield he gives out. The Orisa definitely would have been the better pick with that Bastion. And we saw in that final team fight when CBC was sustaining for as long as they did. It's because Sigma does next to no damage there. He's definitely more of the utility character. He only hit the one with the Gratific Flux onto the Reinhardt, no less, who can easily sustain through it. So Rockbridge definitely going to have to pull out a new strategy here if they want to hold off the offense of CBC.
Now we see little Lucio onto the far end. I was worried a bit there because without that Mercy pocket, I was going to be really confused there, and it probably would have kind of kept the strain going of having these picks but not going with the full build that really supports those picks.
Yeah, Pharmacy could make the difference here. They're definitely going to go up against Kale on this Echo, who doesn't have their own Pocket Mercy, but has definitely been a force to be reckoned with. They haven't had the best duplicates so far, definitely showing that they're more comfort on May, but May does not work the best on this map, so good on Kale for at least having that flexibility as a player. Hopefully little Lucio will be able to shine here for once on this Pharmacy if Ice doesn't get picked off early on by Nate, who has been hitting shots so consistently. And now we're finally going to see the Orisa as well. So hopefully a little bit more boops coming out here as little Lucio is already getting an early pick onto Nade. Not even with the boop, just gets hitting rockets here. We're going to see a great long-range hook onto the Orisa, who didn't even gold mode for it, expecting it to hit. So as the Roadhog 1v1, another great hook from the side of Eclipse does lose the fight, but definitely showing he is the dominating Roadhog so far.
Now the Pharmacy is still surviving. Little Lucio going very low on health, and there goes KO. We knew it was going to be either him or Nade to try to counter this. We saw the hook trying to go out there from 99, not going to find anybody there as KO keeps it going by taking out Orisa, and CBC very effortlessly, even though that's a great hook onto Nade there. It's just going to have to be a little bit of solace because they got to get onto the point right now. Amp Matrix is thrown down, and they just don't even challenge them for the point there, and CBC wins that handily.
Yeah, the Pharmacy got picked off, and then they simply couldn't get back in time. The Roadhog stayed alive, but he wasn't contesting whatsoever. He was hanging back, getting his one pick onto Nade with the hook, and CBC takes it. Definitely proving they're the better, closer-knit team.
Well, that is it for the second round, but we still have 2 more to go. And like I said, we will be getting to Blue Springs match next time. But again, congratulations to all the teams for competing in these finals. And of course, even if things didn't go your way, there is always next semester to turn around and have plenty of time this summer to review those VODs. But right now, we got to take it to a short break and be back for the third match. You are not going to want to miss that. We'll be right back after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
and a natural disaster.
I've saved lives. And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation Overwatch quarterfinals. I'm still your host, Jacob Join Palmer, joined by Brenner Bear to call all the action for you tonight. And Brenner, the first two matches we have seen have been 3-0 sweeps. So what has really been the main thing that you think has stood out in terms of these teams being able to get such complete victories?
It's definitely been both their flexibility as players to play a much wider variety of roster, or when they don't, they can play their pocket picks better than the other team, as well as just tempo and team play. They push together, they use their ults together, they know how to cover each other's backs, and that's definitely been the key factor, if not the biggest one, for these matchups.
Well, let's take a look at the overall bracket and see what the next match is. It is going to be Blue Springs versus St. John Vianney in these quarterfinals. The Wildcats have definitely been a huge force, one of the top teams on the bracket to face, and it is going to be a very tough matchup against them.
Yeah, we see in the prior bracket, they even had to forfeit. They could not go for the win. So the Wildcats coming fresh into this should definitely have a strong showing, being their first game in this tourney and hopefully onto the semifinals, because everyone wants to be in the semifinals and hopefully the finals and then win it. So I'll have to wait and see what they are going to pull out for Nepal on Control.
Well, as we said, this matchup is Blue Springs versus St. John Vianney in the quarterfinals for the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation match. And again, that is to remind you, it is Blue Springs versus the Griffins here in the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation quarterfinal matchup for the spring Overwatch season. And now before we get to the game, we always bring up Doc's keys to the game. And Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch, again, is to never take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when they're unprepared, and tempo, tempo, tempo. Brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivers real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Quick and accurate identity trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com, KOUNT.com. So now let's get into the first match. We are going straight into Control, which is the same map as we have seen in the first two games. Going to be starting out on Nepal yet again. And I see Blue Springs is really favoring going to the Symmetra, get there first on the point and set up those turrets.
Yeah, we saw work in our first matchup. However, it did not work in the second game, however, as they were just doing that broken record strategy of teleporting on the left side. Now we're going to see a very quick engagement on the far side of the map, with Bread getting a triple kill on that Rhine, and already it's a team wipe for Blue Springs.
Well, my goodness. That is a very quick win there. And Brett, look at Brett already to 93% on this shatter. What is even going on? Well, St. John Vianney just have some time to regroup, and luckily for them, that Shatter isn't going to catch anyone there. Apex is going to get a Flame Strike onto Bread, and they're going to continue to try to push forward onto this point there. They're going to probably be met with some turrets, though, and a car wash, and that is exactly what is going to take out Elf there, as they are all being mowed down by those turrets, as well as the laser from Symmetra herself. That is exactly the kind of strategy you want to do. And there, they're going to set them up again and coast past 30%.
Yeah, we saw Cut with that Baptiste throw down the Amplification Matrix, but he was the only person behind it and got quickly eliminated by Symmetra, who could simply just out DPS him with his own Amplification Matrix. We also saw Apex on that Reinhardt push onto point by himself, now having a team behind him. And it looks like already Brett's just going to sit by that door and get already back up to that 45% with the Flame Strike kill onto Keeg. So we'll have to wait and see what St. John's going to do, if they're going to back off, because it looks like they already are losing that mech for KCV, and even the charge kill onto the McCree. Blue Springs being that dominated force with Baby Diva pushing the spawn with the sneaky Lucio. So we see a little quick engagement and pokes from the McCree into spawn.
They're just getting cheeky now. They are so confident against this matchup. But that can sometimes be a team's undoing, so you don't want to get too overconfident in your matchup. The double Diva mech! Are you insane right now? Look at KC Vet. That has to be one of the best plays of tonight. That is so dirty and disrespectful. Blue Springs just having too much of a good time.
Yeah, this has definitely been a fair matchup, to say the least. Hint, hint, wink, wink, with Apex now finally getting a triple kill with that Shatter. But will it even make the difference? Because we just hit 100% on the point.
Wow. Okay then. Let's just move on to the second round then. Blue Springs, you definitely have a lot of confidence. You're definitely going for those more showy plays, and I've seen a little bit of cheekiness from Boise State as well when they have so much confidence. But just don't let that be your undoing, and don't start disrespecting the team so much that you start making bad plays.
Yeah, have to wait and see if it gets the best of them, as St. John now swapping over with Apex on the Zarya. And she now on the Rhine. See if that'll make the biggest difference or not, as Blue Springs pretty much changing up the rest of the roles other than the tanks. Now with Blaze on the Genji, Clear on the Tracer, Rhett on the Zenyatta, and Ice-T on the Ana. Definitely a better squad for this point, as St. John pushing up with Keegster on that Junkrat now. See early engagement, but not as quickly the team wipe, as Clear is going to be able to get the elimination onto the Rhine. Quickly followed by Bread taking out Keegster, and now the McCree is able to take out Bread as he charged forward by himself. Apex following that up, getting Clear out, but Rhett's going to be able to snipe out that McCree in the back line, as KCV is going to take out Apex as well. And already they're going to have to fall back to spawn and regroup, as it's been a pretty one-sided match so far for these teams.
One-sided so far, and Brett actually charging out. Where are you going? Wait for your team. That's very dangerous right there. And his shield is just getting mowed down. And yeah, you can't get too overconfident here, Blue Springs, because that is St. John's opportunity to try to push forward here. There, Ryan goes charging in and is going to get mowed down. Now Keegster is able to even that up somewhat by taking out Ice-T, as the Genji Blade is being used by Blaze here. Going right into that Immortality field, taking out the Lucio right after that, and a double from KC Vet is going to turn around Blue Springs' early mistake and allow them to keep the point.
Yeah, we saw Rhett also pop his own Transcendence to help keep Blaze alive, as he was using that Dragon Blade to clean up the rest of St. John. So St. John now going into this next fight with the ult advantage, with Blue Springs only having the Shatter, Diva Bomb, and Nano if they can charge it quick enough at the start of the fight. So I'll have to wait and see if that will pay out and be the game changer, as these tanks have been the key players in these matchups, and definitely the MVPs of the winning teams, no less, making all the difference. And if this grab lands on at least 3 members, they don't have that Baptiste to deny it, or the sound barrier, so it should definitely be a strong showing for St. John if they're able to land it. We do see the Amplification Matrix come out but it is simply line of sight. And Soundberry comes out to defend against the Diva Bomb, and it doesn't land on anyone. We see 2 eliminations go for the side of St. John as Apex on the Zarya just beams down Ice-T. We see the Ryan 1v1 along with the Diva as she is able to win that fight, and St. John finally takes the point.
Well, I gotta hand it to them. They didn't press all of their cues to take it, so they're gonna have a bit more to play with right now. I'm curious to see how this Riptire works out and where Keekster wants to position himself so he doesn't get found out, as Blue Springs is now gonna find themselves in the unfamiliar position of trying to take back the point. But Nano Boost is gonna be thrown out, countered with the Graviton Surge. Riptire combo coming out, but it is not gonna find anybody as they threw down, as we see St. John threw down the Immortality Field to help keep themselves alive. Blaze and Brett are going to try to even it up as the Genji Blade is going to pick up 2 and now 3 for Blaze. And that is sort of the hero play that all DPSs dream about, getting a triple and turning the fight around by yourself.
Yeah, St. John's got to go full dive now if they even want to make it to point on time, but with Blue Springs on the full aggress now, getting a kill with the Shatter will stall him out just in time. The Wildcats take it.
Yeah, the Griffins having a really tough time here, but I do have to say it is looking out for that showboating from Blue Springs, because if one of their members just kind of goes in and tries to take it by themselves, they can leave themselves at a risk. So that's going to be the dynamic that we see coming out. Well, with a focus on pride and quality and excellence, Skulls seeks to become the brand name of choice for esports apparel, backpacks, chairs, and just about anything you can imagine. Skulls stepped to provide prizing and support for the broadcast of the Missouri High School Overwatch playoffs. You can find out what your gear could look like at skulls.com.
Yeah, gear can definitely make all the difference. Feeling good makes you play good, that's for sure. So going into this next map of Eichenwald, have to see if we'll see May come out, as she's been definitely the dominating force in the prior games with this hybrid matchup, or will it be their downfall? Because we've seen the Symmetra play also try to work, and it's worked for some teams and be the downfall of theirs. Or we could see the Pharmacy finally come out on this map rather than just the Escort and have that viability, because it's very good on Eichenwald not having a lot of roof cover, especially for the first point and even the first checkpoint of when you're pushing the cart. So that could be a huge game changer if the Griffins want to pull it out here, if they have that even in their pocket, or maybe the Wildcats do and they'll just continue to be the dominating force.
Well, if you're going to do some sort of off-meta pick, you better it better be such a comfort pick on you, for you that you can just kind of pop off and do whatever you want to do. And I would almost kind of expect that from Blue Springs. They might just start bringing out some of their favorite picks and try to go for some plays of the game. But that could be their undoing. So we're going to get into the second match. It is going to be Eichenwald. It is the Wildcats versus the Griffins in the quarterfinals for the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation. And as we see the picks come out, Blue Springs is going to be bringing out Bastion on Apex.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that'll make a difference here, especially that they're on the defense. Now we're going into the swap as well with the Echo and the May. That May could really make all the difference, but having the Echo up top will be quite interesting, no less. Not having the DPS to back up the May, but having the May on attack could help being able to swap up the teams. But Bastion's going to be able to burn through that May wall quicker than anyone else for the DPS role, as well as take out that Echo, being essentially the auto cannon that you need to take her out of the sky. Blue Springs looks like they're already going to have to reset, losing that DPS and the Eye in the Sky.
I do like the fact here that if St. John actually, who is bringing out this Bastion, has gone with the full strategy of having the Mercy pocket that Bastion and boost all of that damage, they're going to have to burn through this May wall here. And in that close quarter, there's definitely going to be a lot of damage pushed out. They got to get through that Rhine shield, though. And we see Amp Matron is going to be thrown down, and they are able to take out Rugged. And a huge shatter right onto Apex to just take him out. And now Blue Springs has found what they need. Once they've got that Bastion out of the way, they can just push onto the point, get the team wipe for themselves, and start pushing forward.
Yeah, St. John went all in on that Bastion, and it held for a little bit. The Orisa Rhine Shields definitely held off, but once they pushed right through, we saw Bread go charging in, and they were definitely able to clean up shop. There looks like they're even going to stick with it on the second point, which is not what you want to see here, especially when Blue Springs has that Junkrat to just lob grenades over the shields or burn them down simply. The May also has that wall to buy them the little bit of seconds that they need, even though Bastion can burn it down so quickly. We're already seeing the Dragon Strike coming online as well as tank form for St. John. But it looks like they're going to have to go into Blue Springs Blizzard as well as the Amplification Matrix. And already losing 3 members to the Junkrat Reinhardt, and now make it 4 to clear. This May's making the difference as we see the charge off the edge for Bread. This aggressive playstyle is what we've seen win in the past. With only 1 person on the cart, things are looking good for Blue Springs right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if this Bastion can get enough mileage out of this tank ultimate to warrant staying on him. I was going to think, you know, you might as well, if you're going to use Bastion at this point, you might try to get some sort of high ground here. But now they're at the point where they can't use any high ground, and they're just going to use the Flame Strike right through the narrow door with the help of the Amp Matrix and just let that do all the work for them. Another team wipe for Blue Springs, which has no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, we even see the solo Diva Bomb come out just for the heck of it, because looks like he wants to get that Diva Mech kill once again. He got 2 in the first game. Looks like he's going for more here, as he even has the gold Diva pistol, really flexing on these St. John players. But looks like they're not even going to find him as the Blizzard comes out for Blue Springs onto a handful of members. So does the Riptire. We're going to see the double kill onto the Mercy and the Bastion, with Hanzo only able to pick up 1 onto Bread. They're going to lose the Immortality Field. It looks like they're even going to have to just run back to spawn at this point to stay alive against this aggressive Blue Springs team.
And there you go. Blue Springs taking it with 4 minutes, 40 seconds left on the clock. That's a tall order.
Yeah, Blue Springs, the dominating force with 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, getting all the way to the final checkpoint with the cart. That's pressure on the Griffins if I've ever seen it, because that Bastion did not pay off and they never swapped off of it in time. They full sent it and it cost them dearly, as we get a quick look at this replay of when that Amplification Matrix came off in strides for Blue Springs. We're going to see Bread get that triple kill with the Flame Strike, as well as the triple kill for Junkrat, and then the solo Diva Bomb just for the flex. Blue Springs is definitely having a fun time with this matchup.
Yeah, they're in a point where they can start just greening out some of their favorite picks. They're going to be using that May, though, which has so much utility on this map. Is going to be bringing out the Junkrat, too, which can be very good on defense as well.
Yeah, back in the day when we had the offensive and defensive DPSs, Junkrat and May were there, so at least they're playing to the strength of the side of the map. It looks like St. John is staying with that Mercy that doesn't fit with this comp whatsoever. We saw that with JV as well. People like their Mercy, they like the res, but not having that aerial verticality component can cost you dearly. Same with the damage boost. We're not even going to have a Bastion, as an immediate pick from the side of Apex with the Sonic Arrow onto that Junkrat, who just got a little bit too cocky, standing right out front trying to go for the possible bear trap kill, but was eliminated. At least he'll get back semi-quick, being able to launch himself, as Apex is already up to that 30%, trying to burn down Bread's shield. He's going to find that Junkrat's already back and putting out a lot of DPS, immediately having to back off. Losing their main tank, St. John's not looking good as they lose their McCree as well, but Apex is able to take out the Baptiste. Keekster's going to fall on the Orisa, and it looks like St. John's going to have to go for the reset.
And I find it a little interesting that St. John has really been favoring this Mercy pick, because I can understand that if you're going to be using it for the Bastion to pocket it, but now she is pocketing the Hanzo on attack there, so this might be some sort of pick that they have really just kind of pre-chosen and just might not want to try to swap off since they're so set on it. Right now we see Noodles coming in. As might try to get a pick on the back line, is going to try to pressure this May here. Going very low on health himself, though. That could choose to be his undoing. Is able to pick up the health pack, though, as KC-Bet takes out Reinhardt from St. John. We do see Rugged is bringing out that Riptire, able to take out Apex, and now St. John is just going to be pushed right off the edge there, and that is going to be yet another reset for them.
Yeah, Blue Springs definitely being the close-knit team that they have been so consistently, and as we mentioned, that's what the win condition is for this. You got to play close together, and you got to win those team fights with your comfort heroes. Once again, Apex gets the early pick onto the Junkrat, who's been so cheeky. Oh my
goodness!
But a great Diva Bomb from over the roof from KCV is going to be able to take out that Mercy and the Hanzo, who both had their ults up, no less. So now St. John's going to have to hold back and wait for the respawn to even start this next push with only a minute 50 remaining.
That is just dirty. That's just they're way so they are so overconfident right now, but they kind of have the skills to back it up, as this Diva is just going to be dancing around them now, forcing them into this small building here, and the damage is going to be piled onto them. We do see Valkyrie used by Mambo trying to keep the team alive, as well as the Amp Matrix thrown down, but it is not enough as the Junkrat just hurls his bombs and mines into that small room. And Blue Springs is going to be using the Riptire yet again and getting a double from that as well.
Yeah, Pocket Mercy on a Hanzo is definitely the interesting choice here, no less, as the Baptiste is going to have to go for the reset because he was so far behind enemy lines by himself. We're even going to see Clear just hanging out. Same with the Reinhardt, not even going to point because St. John really hasn't stood a chance pushing through. Apex once again getting the early elimination onto Junkrat, but it seems it hasn't made the difference with this 5v6. See if Blue Springs will let them do it as Bridge just jumps off the edge in the back line. Definitely memeing on St. John now, getting a little bit cocky here, but it looks like they're going to go for the Blizzard and get 3 members with the Shatter coming out, getting 2 kills with the Blizzard as well as the self-destruct, getting the team wipe. Amplification Matrix will throw down just because they could. St. John's going to have to go full dive if they even want to touch the point, but I think they've kind of lost their spirit here.
Okay, Blue Springs, we get it. You're going for the replays. You want to dominate. We're really impressed here. I'm clapping for you. Oh wow, so amazing, over the roof. I am so blown away right now. There goes a Dragon Strike and a Supercharger being placed down. I mean, Blue Springs still takes it in the end. So congratulations, you got this round. Let's pack it up. And St. John only able to get about 1 tick there. And we're going to end this now. Rugged being taken out, but that's going to be really the only elimination out from Blue Springs. They keep the other members coming. They keep them from coming in and just trying to keep it going. That was dirty.
Talk about playing with your food, Blue Springs. Not supposed to do that. That's what your parents taught you as a kid, but
yeah.
Too late. They did it. But they did it well. I mean, they played very closely as the team, even at the end when there was just a 4v6 going on in that final push. They still managed to defend it with the May just trickling in, throwing down the Blizzard, getting double kill. We saw the Diva Bomb come in as well for that final push. And they just took them apart. St. John's definitely got a lot of learning to do.
Yeah, it's just dust yourself off, I guess. It has just been an evening of steamrolls so far, and Blue Springs definitely looking set to go on to the semifinals. But we still have one more map. We have Rialto to go to. But if I remember correctly, both teams that won the past 2 games haven't even allowed the opposing team to get to the first checkpoint. So they've set the pace, and Blue Springs can't. The real question is, can Blue Springs keep the pace of the night going and prevent even 1 point from being taken?
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be a 3-0 situation with the difference between these 2 teams in skill so far. But we'll definitely have to wait and see, because anything is possible in Overwatch. Nonetheless, you get a couple cheeky picks and you'll start pushing, and if you can snowball it could all go downhill from there, but this is an assault, so with Escort, there's definitely a comeback mechanic there. Have to wait and see. Maybe we'll even see a full stall with a Bastion Torb just to meme on them with Blue Springs that they've done so consistently in this matchup so far.
Well, now we move on to the third match, going to be Rialto, the Griffins versus the Wildcat. And the advice that I would have to give to the Griffins is I understand it's not fun in any game to go up against a team like this that is so overconfident. But that is Blue Springs' main weakness. So first of all, a great shout out for the Griffins for just sticking through this and showing the tenacity to keep playing. That just shows great, sportsmanship, so I gotta commend you for that. But also, look out for Blue Springs being out of position here. Some of their members want to try to play and just have fun with you, but if you are able to have the team coordination to be able to pick them out when they go too far into your backline, that's going to be the way that you take this back.
Yeah, and already we're seeing a very strong showing from Blue Springs as they went for the Bastion play, not even on the cart yet, just went around the right side with that Baptiste Mortality Field and wipes the floor with St. John, as well as Ice-T on this Widowmaker. Fell low at the start of the fight to Elf on that McCree, but wasn't enough and was able to get the pick as well. The Bastion now just gonna straight up spawn peek the best he can and take a lot of damage onto the St. John team as they're coming out. You mentioned it, the Blue Springs are playing very far apart, so maybe you'll be able to get a couple cheeky picks, but it looks like it's not even gonna matter.
They're on the boat now.
Yeah, it is full just sit and shoot because St. John's trying their best to get a little eliminations. They're able to pick up one onto the Mercy, so there is no res there, but they're quickly going to get re-answered by losing 3 members, make that 4, and already we're at checkpoint 1 with 5 minutes remaining.
I mean, they just can't get tilted here. They have to be able to reset as a team. But as much as we're talking about Blue Springs being split up, St. John is also being split up. I mean, what is the Reinhardt doing there, apart from the rest of the team? So they really just need to take a breather and refight as a team. It has been the team coordination that has determined these games, and St. John has that opportunity to try to get that advantage over Blue Springs, which is very overconfident right now and just playing alone as if it's a team deathmatch. But if St. John can just take a deep breath, fight as a team, they can take this back.
Yeah, their win condition is definitely rugged on that Bastion so far. They were able to take out Ice-T, but with the amplification matrix just a bit too far behind the Bastion, it doesn't matter as he's quickly able to just burn that McCree down even with the flashbang. The grab is going to come out along with the Riptire and the Shatter, but nothing lands whatsoever. But they are going to be able to take out Blaze on the Roadhog and Noodles on the Orisa, as well as the elimination onto Rugged in tank form. Retcon's going to go for the reset, but Ice-T's going to pick up one little cheeky pick onto the Lucio.
Well, they got their stop. That's the main thing. And the main thing is Blue Springs was loaded up on ultimates, and they made them burn through 3 of them. But they're still going to have a lot left here, as that is a great hook right there. Unfortunately, the Zarya bubble was on that hook target, so Blaze is going to bring out Whole Hog and take out Keekster and continue to push forward here for Blue Springs. They've found his stuff. What is that Ryan doing over there, Doretta? Where are you? Where? Your team is right there. Hold up the shield in front of your team. You're rectangle, man. Don't go trying to get flanks and picks. You're not Blue Springs right now. Just don't try to get picks into the back line as a Reinhardt.
Yeah, Apex actually on point with these bubbles, saving a lot of the hooked victims, but it seems not to just be enough with the tank in the back line, and the rest of the Griffins just all over the place. Blue Springs just going to push right into their spawn because they have freedom of the map at the moment. Not a fear in sight. The grab now coming online for St. John, but it looks like they're going to have to deal with the Orisa in the back line with the Bongo just hanging out in the back. It looks like Blue Springs is also going to have the Whole Hog and the Valkyrie coming online. St. John has the amplification matrix, but with only 3 members alive, 2 of them being tanks, don't even throw it down, just go for the reset, as the boop coming out from the Lucio is going to kill the Reinhardt.
It definitely seems like all these players are just it's like they're treating this as if it's team deathmatch right now. And this is, oh goodness, Blaze. You're being... Oh, okay. Congrats, you got it. We're very impressed right now. As the Bastion is going to come in on the point with the Amp Matrix thrown down from St. John, and Mambo is able to get the pick onto that Bastion, and that's the start of a team fight I want to see, as Elf is able to take out Noodles there. Now are they going to keep pushing Blue Springs back and make some space for themselves? They are moving towards the Roadhog here, but are going to keep on this point. And hey, a hold's a hold. That's your first team fight win, so let that start to be some momentum for you, St. John.
Now they just have to hold out for a whole nother 3 minutes here, as St. John now has their 5 ults, but gets burned down by that Bastion in the backline. They will end up trading. Whole Hog comes out along with the Shatter and the Sound Barrier, finally able to cancel out the momentum coming out from Blue Springs, as he's quickly just hooked and missed the charge. Valkyrie's coming out as well to give him the damage boost and the healing he needs. Blaze being that one-man army that Roadhog is, being the dominating force, landing an amazing hook onto the Baptiste, who is flying in the air, no less, from those frog boots, is going to get taken out by the Riptire from behind with the help of his teammates. But with so few members remaining, they do have the spawn advantage, but it looks like Blue Springs is finally going to go for the reset, and recognizing the fact that St. John's actually playing close as a team with that spawn advantage.
Well, and this is the main thing, is Blue Springs has been in the mentality that they want to go for those meme plays, and they're sticking on this Bastion when maybe they need to kind of switch it up a little, and St. John can probably use that to their advantages. Look at this charge that Apex has built up on the Zarya here, and Rugged is going to bring out that tank for him, is able to take out Elf and Keekster, but Keekster puts a stop to that and is able to trade 1-for-1 as Apex brings out that Graviton Surge and is able to use that great charge that they've built up on their attack to be able to take out the Echo, and they are managing to hold Blue Springs here. And I gotta hand it to them. You've managed to burn 90 seconds off of that clock, St. John. You've got a lot more fight in you. Just don't get tilted and take out that Bastion, my goodness.
Yeah, he got a triple kill before he was even eliminated, with Valkyrie coming out, keeping that Winston alive, going full dive right now. Apex is really popping off here on this Zarya, getting a 100% charge and maintaining it for a super long time, even getting a kill with the Graviton Surge on Ice-T, as you mentioned. But now with the rest of Blue Springs pushing into their spawn at the door, St. John did not have a chance as soon as Apex fell, no less.
But look at the time they have left. 1 minute, 8 seconds. I mean, they were able to hold Blue Springs for a good amount of time on that third point. And this is a winnable fight. If you can get to the final point and have a decent amount in overtime, this isn't a situation like it's been in the last round where Blue Springs has over 4 minutes left on the clock. So St. John showing some promise and might be able to come alive as they have to go for the offense now.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to deal with Ice-T and Rugged Fish, who have, on these DPS roles, definitely been a force to be reckoned with. That Bastion usually trading 3-for-1 constantly with Keekster on that Junkrat as well, but it looks like this time they're going to be swapping over to the Pharmacy with the Echo, so Mercy's going to have the work cut out for her, but at least she has that Ana to help back her up and hit those snipes on those flying DPS. But St. John's going to have to go pretty much all hit scan if they want to try to counter this aerial, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see the McCree and Soldier swap off pretty quick from this Hanzo and Junkrat that they have. Also, that Wrecking Ball is going to cause a lot of havoc with Blaze being this one-man army on Roadhog. He's looking for that boop with that grapple around the corner. Same with that Junkrat just hiding right behind the wall. Or is that Pharah? I could not make out the difference with the silhouettes. I believe it was the Pharah going for the boop if they go out the sidelines. He's going to show himself, try to bait him over, but they're not going to do it. If they want to play correctly as a team, they want to go for it. They're going for the boops the best they can, almost rolling off the edge himself. Noodles trying, but
you got greedy.
Unable to get anything. Ice-T is end up going to fall to the Baptiste, going back to the same position for the rehook. Apex is going to be able to get the hook onto Blaze. St. John's playing to win here, definitely coming alive in this third game, possibly going to break the 3-0 streak with how strong they're showing already.
Well, they still haven't swapped off of that Junkrat and Hanzo yet, so that Far Mercy, if they can take it out early enough, that'll be something that they can get a little bit of a breather on. As one of their members gets hit with the anti-Elfie going critical there, he's going to be able to heal back up as we have Barrage available. They got to keep that in mind as Barrage has already been charged up for Blue Springs. They're going to use it, but the Baptiste is going to be able to take it out, but not before it takes out Keekster, and also Blaze and Redcon were able to get some picks there as well.
Yeah, very fast charge on that Barrage as the res comes out completely uncontested.
And now we like Elfie swapping over to the McCree. We got some hit scan now.
Yeah, that's at least one. The Baptiste doing his best there. Keekster definitely outputting the damage, but as we see the boop come out onto Apex, already off the end, losing one of their tanks. As we did see the swap over to the Reinhardt to try to prevent a lot of that rain hell from above. Another boop attempt, but not gonna get it. The damage boost coming out in strides, already getting back up to 50% with the mines online. With St. John only having the amplification matrix, getting very close to the whole hog, but if he keeps getting booped off, he will never get there faster than the base rate. Then mines are going to come out on point, as well as Valkyrie to keep his team alive. Reinhardt in the backline charging through, as is tradition with these matchups so far, charging right and going to lose his life to Blaze, being that one-man army as Roadhog is. A lot of rockets landing, already up to the 70% for this Pharah. And now 3 ults make that 4 on the side of St. John. This next team fight should hopefully go a little bit better.
Blue Springs is going to res onto Retcon there. And the Riptire is available to Keekster. He's just got to set up in the right position so he doesn't get mowed down by Pharah's missiles here. Pharah is definitely going to peek around this edge. Rugged trying to get some sort. That's a great pick onto Ice-T there. And Retcon is going to use the nano boost, as well as Whole Hog being brought out by Apex, who gets taken down from all the damage being pushed out there. Keekster is going to try to turn this around, but the Riptire is going to be taken out by Retcon before it can make any damage. Keekster is now just going to go try to do an aerial attack here onto this Roadhog and is able to take him out, but is facing so much damage from this Pharah. It's just the Junkrat's worst nightmare is that Pharah just raining down damage from above.
Yeah, really good on Blue Springs for having that target priority, immediately throwing down that nano to eliminate that Whole Hog, as we see mines come out from Noodles, but is going to get quickly eliminated, but at least he's going to pick up Keekster before he has to respawn. Apex is going to be able to take out Retcon, but with the res being uncontested and having Blaze now on the Reinhardt, base tank so much damage, we're going to see the duplicate come out from the Echo onto the Roadhog as well. Valkyrie's going to come out. Shatter's going to come out from Ice-T on this duplicate. And with the double Shatter, her being in their back pocket, they're going to use one and win this fight. Now Keekster swapping over to the Soldier. As I mentioned early on, they're going to need that double hit's going to take out these Flyers. Now with Barbecue on the Moira as well, and Elfie swapping off that McCree to the Tracer to try to get in the backline and maybe take out Retcon. That's about the only foreseeable future of this Tracer, or just dive onto point. Barrage is going to come out and able to take out that Reinhardt. Apex on this Wrecking Ball is going to try to buy as much time as he can, going for the spin to win, but it's going to hit a wall and stops that momentum right away. The Shatter's going to come out onto him for the solo Shatter. Mines was attempted, but it was just too far off the cart to get too much value. Blue Springs shuts down any hopes that the Griffins had.
Yep, and that is going to be a very convincing win for the Wildcats. And you know, Blue Springs, if you want to have a win like that, that's all right. You can do it. You're going into the semifinals next round, though. So don't get too headstrong in that fight. Remember, you're getting toward the end of the tournament here, and start to show a little respect there. Okay, but again, a great shout out to the Griffins, though, for all the trials and tribulations they had to go through. They did show signs of life there at the end and held Blue Springs at the 3rd point, so great tenacity shown by them, and a great shout out to them. We're going to get to the fourth game right after this break. We're going to take a quick break and wrap up the quarterfinals for tonight, but right after this.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
And a natural disaster.
I've saved lives and led a team on patrol.
I serve.
Well, I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the quarterfinals in the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation Overwatch matches. I'm your host, Jacob Jem Palmer, joined by Brenner Bear. Call the last fight of the night. It is going to be Wellnap versus Ozark, and all the matches tonight have been 3-0 steamroll. So do you think that we might at least see a fourth game tonight?
I'll have to wait and see how the first game goes on Nepal for Control, because that's pretty much been the trendsetter of who dominates and who gets rolled over here. A lot of teams going for the symmetric plays here, a lot of Reinhardt plays that are getting super aggressive. That also determines how the team fight goes. And the secondary tanks also determine a lot of how the team plays. We see a D.Va, they play a little bit more aggressive. The Zarya plays a little bit further back. So I'll have to see if that trend also continues in this next matchup.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket one final time to see the final matchup. It is Ozark versus Wellington Napoleon, or Wellnap as we know them by. That's what the WN stands for there at the very beginning of that name that you see there. And Wellington Napoleon has also, along with Blue Springs, has really been a name that we have seen kind of at the top of the bracket and a lot of times in the normal season. But the normal season isn't the postseason. I'm sure not to, pick at an open wound, but Boise State kind of knows that, open season, the normal season isn't necessarily the playoff season. So Wellnap has to, go into this not too overconfident.
Yeah, you also got to have that adaptability to deal with all the patches coming out over the summer, because that can consistently change up the game ever so slightly, and even the team composition. So having that postseason spring tournaments can change the game a lot, especially for you as a team. So that should also help a lot in this tournament, as we've seen the adaptability and flexibility of these teams has definitely been put on the test.
Well, they can change the meta slightly, or they can do a D.Va remake buff and do something like that. So, to say the least, patches can make a difference. But right now it is Wellington Napoleon versus Ozark in the final quarterfinal match of the night. We will see who goes into the semifinals. And Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch is always to never take a fair fight, and that means to take fights in unexpected places when the opposing team is unprepared. And tempo, tempo, tempo. Brought to you by Count Identity Trust Global Network, delivering real-time fraud protection, account protection, and enables personalized customer experiences for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Quick and accurate identity trust decisions deliver safe payment, account creation, and login events while reducing digital fraud, chargebacks, false positives, and manual reviews. Count.com, KOUNT.com. First match is going to be getting into right now, same as always, on Nepal.
Yeah, Nepal's definitely, like I mentioned, the game trendsetter as we look at this team lineup from both Wellington and the Ozarks. Wellington had a very strong showing in the JV League, just like CBC. And if their varsity is just as good as their JV, no less, if not better, this could easily be a 3-0 game unless the Ozarks have that back pocket that could change the game. As we're looking at this lineup, we're going to have the Ryan Zarya on both sides. with the Baptiste on both sides as well, but this time we're going to have the May Echo with no Pocket Mercy and an Ana for the Wellington. And Ozark's going to go for the Hanzo and Junkrat Mercy with no Echo or VAR to be seen. Already we're seeing an immediate trade between the Hanzo and the Ana, but with that Mercy they're going to be able to res the Hanzo. So Ozark's off to a stronger start than Wellington so far, but it can be an easy swing as they move over to the point and now give Wellington the high ground.
A lot more of an even fight than we're used to seeing. A great Maywall there is going to catch Crackle off guard, and they're able to pick him out. And also, that's going to be the Amplification Matrix thrown down. And they're going to use that to take out 3 more from Ozark, force them to reset, and take the point for themselves.
Yeah, Wellington played a little bit further back, got their Ana back in time, let them rotate over to point before it unlocked, had the high ground advantage. As we all know from Star Wars, that's how you win the battle, and they did. And with this Echo not even having a Pocket Mercy, she's been playing pretty uncontested because it is all down to the Hanzo and Baptiste to try to contest her. But with this duplicate up, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the duplicate come out on Reinhardt, which has also been so consistent whenever we have an Echo. And already we're seeing the Echo get the elimination onto Zarya, no less. So losing that secondary tank, no bubbles to protect you. They're going to have to back off. They do have the 4 ult advantage going into this fight, but Wellington's going to have a lot coming right up, if not during the team fight. So Ozark's got to prioritize those targets if they're tracking ult percentage.
Now they're going to take a little bit of a different route here. Their Reinhardt gets bubbled up for some added protection. We do see the nano boost is coming out onto the Reinhardt, and the Shatter is being used by Shortstack as well. Is going to be going right onto the nano boosted Reinhardt, and a great Riptire from Ozark is going to put Wellnap back at the disadvantage, and an important res there onto the Junkrat keeps Ozark at the strength they need to take out Nebula and go back onto the point. This is a much more competitive match, and I have to say it's about time.
Yeah, Wellington got a little bit aggressive there and used the Shatter on a bubbled Zarya, and it was a 1 solo Shatter anyway. There was nobody behind her, and then they immediately re-answered as they nanoed the Rhine. Ozark playing that very reserved, and it definitely paid off for them with that Shatter landing onto 3 members of Wellington, able to eliminate them very quickly. He did miss the charge onto the point, but they were still able to clean up with a 5-man Graviton Surge, immediately removing the Mortality Field and the Blizzard coming out. Wellington answered so aggressively, almost even gets the team wipe if they can find Hyperion in time, and they got it.
Well, there goes the team wipe for Wellnap, taking back the point, moving it up to 70 there. They're only going to have 2 ultimates, though. The Nano Boost is going to come online really fast here, but Ozark, like they did last time they have the point, they do have a slight ultimate advantage, and that Riptire is going to be coming online very soon here. So now we'll see if Ozark can indeed. They're going to be taking this narrow route here. Can they push through? The Maywall is waiting right for that Reinhardt. It's going to get pushed off the edge, though, and that's their opening. And that's going to miss there. It's just going to wall them off inside now. Amp Matrix thrown down as well as Nano Boost. Here comes the Graviton Surge, though. And the combination with the Dragon Strike is going to pick up 2, but Shortstack with that Nano Boost, they just weren't able to get to the point in time.
Yeah, Wellington stalled that out as long as they needed, and the Ozarks just kept going right side, needed to go down the middle in order to even pay attention to the objective, because this isn't team deathmatch. We're seeing a lot of kills happen, but it's control. You got to get on the point, and they simply just didn't. And I'm curious if we're going to see Mason still on this Echo this time, on Shrine no less. You're stuck indoors. Not a lot of open spaces for you to just fly around, but he was most uncontested most of the time as no members of Ozarks were looking up. And now they don't even have the Baptiste for the hit scan, which little he provides. And now with Hanzo swapping over to Genji, Ozark's team isn't looking that good going up against Wellington. Although they do have the Doomfist and Echo, so that little dive combo that they could go for can definitely pay off with having the beam getting below half HP, burning them down, with the Doomfist causing as much chaos as he can. The Genji doesn't really work for the Ozarks team. He's dive. You want something like a Winston to keep him alive, not a Mercy, because she'll die if she tries to follow him. At least Wellington's prioritizing the point better than the Ozarks so far. Almost able to cap it, but have yet to see elimination. And as soon as I say that, we're seeing a 4-man elimination coming up from the side of Wellington. Make that 5. Are they going to be able to find the 6? Nope. Mercy, she got away. They're going for it no less. They have the Doomfist, but it looks like he's just going to jump off the edge and miss her.
That's a bit unfortunate now because Ozark can use the next few seconds to their advantage to try to push forward as a team. At least if one of them doesn't get picked off, but they're waiting to regroup now. And there's a swap off there from Cake, is going to be moving on to the Baptiste.
We also saw the swap to the McCree as well going into this next fight, so they lost that ult percentage. They're getting pretty close to the sound barrier for this, but I don't think they will be able to charge it in this fight if he's picked off early enough. We're going to see the grab come out on the side of the wall and only land on the Roadhog. A great 3-man ante comes out from Matty Ice with the Immortality Field, was immediately destroyed. Amplification Matrix comes out, and that's a team wipe for Wellington once again.
Well, I was hoping for maybe this could have been another really close back and forth match, and Ozark, please, please, please let that prediction for me come true, because I don't know if my heart can take another 3-0 win, but Wellnap is certainly doing well right now, and they're going to struggle to push past that narrow choke point, but Milk is taken out. But a Shatter is going to answer that back from short stack, but not going to pick anyone up there. And a counter Shatter from Crackle is going to go through. He gets hit with the ante though and is taken out by the Meteor Strike. And now there goes McCree taking out Big AV there with Nebula taking out Cyclone. And Ozark is still having trouble getting to the point. One of them tries to get on sneakily, but is met by Milk and is taken out.
Yeah, the Ryan Roadhog combo is not what you want to see on Nepal, no less. And Reinhardt has had all of the healing he needs. Short stack definitely being with the better team here, as they're just full sending it even with the duplicate. And this Zarya definitely made the difference with those constant graviton surges landing on multiple members of Ozark. Wellington having that adaptability and flexibility that they needed as a team with that team composition, and takes it.
Well, that's going to be the first victory for Wellnap, certainly proving why they are one of the top teams that we have seen throughout the regular season. And if you have a top team, you want to represent that team well. And with a focus and pride in quality and excellence, Skull seeks to become the brand name of choice for esports apparel, backpacks, chairs, and just about anything you can imagine. Skull stepped in to provide pricing and support for the broadcast of the Missouri High School Overwatch playoffs. And you can find out what your gear could look like at skulls.com.
Yeah, as we keep saying, whenever they come up, when you look good, you play good, you feel good, you'll definitely feel better.
I don't know. Some of these teams, their performance is enough to feel good on their own.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely been the dominating force with the constant 3-0s we've seen. And in the previous match, we saw Blue Springs even just start playing with their food, as I said, because they know that they're just the better force. They just had the man Reinhardt on Eichenwald just hanging in the back. Like, we don't need to be there. Our team's got it. They had that confidence because they had the team flexibility. So going back to Eichenwald now, we're seeing it change up on this roster with now Milkman on the Soldier, Nebula on this Sigma, as well as the Ozarks now taking a note from Wellington with this Zarya, but Cyclone's going to swap over to the Moira along with WYWTH on the Junkrat and Hyperion on this Genji. Definitely an interesting roster to say the least, because they don't really meld together with a semi-dive, hard hold, traditional Overwatch comp. But Doomfist coming right over the roof edge in the backline, getting unanswered, even taking a rock to the face. Crackle's taking a ton of damage even with the ante coming onto him, but his teammates are going to heal him up the best they can. No member falling just yet, but that will probably soon change as Crackle gets separated from his team, but looks like that Junkrat's going to be able to take out Big Gav as they rotate over to the point.
Wellnap trying to get onto the point there. Excuse me, Ozark trying to get onto the point. And they are able, Y with a pick onto Milk, puts them at a slight advantage, and they're going to now use the Coalescence to indeed push onto that point with a Nano Boost as well. It's hits with the Sleep Dart there, and then a Gravitic Flux as well, and that Nano Boost now wears off. And that Gravitic Flux, the follow-up that came from that, was enough to turn the entire fight around and get a team wipe onto Ozark.
Yeah, Ozark's really strong showing right off the bat. They just couldn't wipe enough members in time. They just came trickling back, and eliminating that Doomfist first is not what you want to see, because he can get back faster than most Overwatch members. So as soon as he came back, the Gravitic Flux came out, and we saw a 3-man right away. And then 4 or 5 team wipe, there it was. So now, with this upcoming team fight, we're gonna see the Shatter and hopefully the Tire come out here for Ozark, but it looks like he's gonna get slammed right against the wall and fall down to 95 HP. His healer's having to put everything into him to keep him up. Shield getting to 300 HP. He's gonna have to keep that down. As the Anti comes into the back line, falling onto the Baptiste, the Genji, and the Zarya, with both of them getting eliminated. Zarya is the only one able to live through it, with the Junkrat getting eliminated and the Meteor Strike taking out the other 2 members. It's almost a team wipe as the Baptiste spawns just in time. Wellington continues to be the dominating force in this matchup.
But good on Ozark for 2 reasons. 1, they didn't use any of their ultimates in some sort of panic response. And 2, they have at least gotten 1 tick in one of their pushes. And just taking those one at a time can eventually get to where you need to be in terms of taking the point. So they did also manage to force out that Meteor Strike from Big AV there. So it wasn't all lost, even though that particular push didn't work for them. But now they just got to wait until the advantage is in their side there. But Hyperion is going to be taken out by Big there. And that's going to put Ozark at a slight disadvantage there. Wellnap is going to be using the Gravitic Flux, trying to get it onto the Junkrat there. But instead, it's going to be taking out Cyclone there. And Big is still continuing on to get pick after pick onto Crackle there. Short Stack and Turtle Man also getting one for themselves, and Ozark has to reset again. But now their time has finally come. Now they've built up their ults.
Yeah, Wellington's getting to the point where they're just acknowledging the fact that Ozarks haven't really stood a chance yet, because with this awkward team comp, we have the Junkrat that can burn down the shields of Wellington, which is good, but then we have the Genji to try to execute the weaker targets, but he hasn't done that once yet. Maybe they're going for the Nano Blade play, but we haven't seen either of them come out. Maybe they just want to press Q at the same time as they have all 6 up. There's the Shatter first. There's the Tire. Are we seeing more follow-up, or are they just going to leave it at that? They're able to take out 3 members of Wellington, so they should definitely start pushing now. They're definitely slow with the push. They see the Ana. Genji's going in on her, but have yet to get the elimination. They finally capped the point. Ana's still alive for just too long. And when she is finally eliminated, the rest of her team is back alive and already charging their ults. Ozarks did well in that fight, only having to commit 2, and finally we're seeing a change off Junkrat onto the McCree to deal with that Doomfist. That is something I quite like to see here.
I have a lot of respect for Ozark right now, because they're really the first team to go in to the second round down 1 point in the overall match and be able to take the payload and not be completely shut out. And they're showing a lot of coordination and discipline with how they use their ultimates. They're using ultimates right now. Wellnap is just going to use all of them and press all of their Qs. That's going to be great. You got your team wipe, but now you only have that tactical visor left.
Yeah, but with the auto aim, you can definitely pick off the weak healers in the back line. Still waiting for that Nano Blade to show up. As we see the flashbang come out, and Crackle gets a quick little stun for himself. We did see Shatter committed there by Wellington as well, but didn't land on too many members, as the Amplification Matrix with Milkman behind it was outputting all the damage they needed. Ozark going into this next team fight is definitely going to have to look for a pick. Genji's looking for that Nano Blade, but is immediately displaced by Doomfist. The Dragon Blade comes out, but no Nano in sight, as it is immediately re-answered with the Tac Visor, which gets a triple kill there for Milkman in the back line. Hyperion never got that Nano Blade, as we wanted to see. Only got 1 elimination. His team paid the price for it.
Well, they still, oh, look at Big here trying to get this pick here, but he is all alone. Can they punish that? The rest of the members around him. There's one on the point. What is he doing on there all by himself? Oh, and they could have given Ozark the chance to get to the second checkpoint right now. Can they follow it up right now? Well, there goes the Gravitic Flux just coming online there for the SIG, and Amp Matrix is going to be thrown down. Is he going to use it? He does throw out Rock there, and there's a huge shatter able to take out Turtle there, and also Short Stack was also taken out from Wellnap. Despite being hit with the anti-Ozark, is pushing through right now. Big again is trying to go for the hero play at the very back, is able to take out Cake, but now the rest of the team has turned around, but it is still a second checkpoint taken. No, they're just 0.03 meters from it, and they're going to use the Nano Boost as well as the Gravitic Flux here, and they are turning it around, and with overtime and no time left on the clock, that is going to be it for Ozark's push.
Right there, for me personally, Matty Ice is the MVP because he got a kill with the sleep dart. Never seen that before in my years of playing Overwatch, so big respect to that Ana play, no less. And as you mentioned, Big in the background killed the Ana and bought his team time. Then we saw Nebula come in with the Sigma. We saw Deadeye used for the side of the Ozarks, but it simply did not get the value he needed because the Nano came out onto Nebula to keep him alive in the fight as the rest of the Wellington came in. And they simply won that team fight. Ozarks just didn't have the steam in their tank to keep going, it seems. As soon as the rest of Wellington came in, they just didn't have anything in their toolbox to fend them off. So going into this defense, curious what Ozarks might try to pull out here because they needed to swap off that Genji much sooner, and they never even got to use that Nano Blade.
Well, they're going to try to go for the Nano Blade composition here with Wellington Napoleon.
Yeah, Wellington's definitely going for the up show here. Like, here's how it's done. And I'm scared that they will do it better as they've been the dominating team so far. But Ozarks does have the better looking team, minus the Mercy. Just swap her out for Baptiste or something, just not Mercy because you don't got that verticality. Maybe with the Hanzo you could attempt something, but damage boosting him or the McCree is not going to make the difference here. Nebula and Short Stack on these tanks have definitely been the dominating force against Crackle and Karn so far. But we will have to wait and see. Maybe defense is their play here as we kick things off. Already Milkman is getting up to 15% with that damage output, and so is Crackle. But they're pushing right into the face of Ozarks, taking out Crackle right off the bat, losing that main tank. Things are not looking good for Wellington, or for Ozarks, my bad, because Wellington is just taking them out, even getting elimination with the Rock from Nebula. Looks like they're going to cap the point with 3 minutes remaining, no less. Ozarks collapse just like that.
By any standard, this is going to be a very tough hold for them.
Yeah, things aren't looking good because Wellington held them off until they had about a minute 50 to cap the point, whereas Wellington just literally cut that in half and said, too bad, we're going to win first team fight and take out your main tank because you weren't with him at all. They don't even have the able to cut him off. They just ran over him like he wasn't there. They're definitely up showing Hyperion on this Genji. Big gap, definitely showing how it's done. They definitely don't need this Junkrat or Hanzo either, with ults finally coming online. Valkyrie used as soon as she gets it, but is quickly eliminated, not even having a chance, as it's almost a team wipe for Wellington Napoleon here.
Basically, that's about the effect of it. They're going to have a lot of ultimates too, as Ozark hasn't really built anything up there, and they're going to swap off two. They're going to swap off. One of their supports is going to swap off, but it probably isn't the right support that needs to swap off right now, as Nano Boost is going to be used, as well as Gravitic Flux and Shatter, and here comes the Blade out. The Flux is able to take out one. The Blade gets Cake, and then following it up, it's one after the other, and a total team wipe for Wellnap, allowing them to get the win.
Yes, they got 2 team wipes in a single push, and Ozarks definitely getting shut down hard there. So going over to this next escort map, I don't think things will end well for the Ozarks.
Well, one more shout out to Skulls with a focus on pride and quality and excellence. They seek to become the brand name of choice for esports apparel, backpacks, chairs, and just about anything you can imagine. Skulls stepped in to provide pricing and support for the broadcast of the Missouri High School Overwatch playoffs. Find out what your gear could look like at skulls.com. Well, Brenner, even though Wellnap has managed to go 2-0, I really got to hand it to Ozark. They at least made it so both teams had to push with the payload. So that's when going up against a top-tier team, they're definitely showing a lot of tenacity.
Yeah, their JV team didn't do that too bad either when they played in their quarter and semifinals. So at least they are living up to their name so far and putting up a good fight. They've won a couple of really good team fights and gotten on the point a couple times as well. They just weren't able to maintain it as long as Wellington or get their own team wipe. So I'll have to see if going into this escort map, if they're going to collapse just like they did on Eichenwald, or if they're finally going to come up with a real team composition that we've seen from Wellington, or if they're just going to keep doing their wacky stuff like they want to.
Well, the maps are all set out for us, which means Rialto once again is going to be the third map and possibly the final map for Wellnap right now. It's just going to be a question of how far Ozark can press here, which I would wager they already broke the trend on Eichenwald with getting the payload. So can they break the trend here? It'll at least be a feather in their cap that they were the one team tonight that got, if they get 3-0, which is yet to be seen, but if they do, at least they can take the first checkpoint and say, hey, even if we didn't make it, we at least put up a fight. So we'll have to see how that turns out.
Yeah, well, going through the first team fight, we already saw Big Gav in the backline dealing as much damage to Crackle as he can because they want to separate him and get the early elimination. And we're already going to see Milkman take out Hyperion, who doesn't have his own pocket mercy. So already he is being the dominating force in the skies. And thankfully, Hyperion's recognizing that and swapping over to the Soldier. Don't know why the hit scan was the best choice. Maybe because McCree was already taken. Would have liked to actually see the Reaper with how brawly Wellington has been so far, especially with the Doomfist, as Milkman gets his second elimination and a three-man shatter coming out from Nebula now on the Reinhardt. And Big Gav getting two more, trying to go for the team wipe, but is unable to get it. Now Ozarks with Karn on the Roadhog. Not what you want to see.
Well, trying to get him in a pick there, and that is a great pick for Big AV there. Karn is going to be taken out, and that's going to bleed off more precious time from Ozark's bank here. Now they're all ready again for another push. We see Doomfist there. Big AV trying to find out what squishy he wants to take out in the back line as the ultimates start to build up. Here comes Deadeye from Milk here, not quite using it yet now. They're still holding on to everything. They're going to be able to try to stun the Reinhardt there, push some damage onto both tanks there, and Big AV finds the pick he was looking for onto Cyclone, and that's the signal for the rest of the team to move in with Nebula, getting a double, and a double boop onto Ozark is going to wipe them out again and send them back to the start.
Yeah, Wellington definitely having that restraint that they needed for the call. We didn't see Big Gav get the Meteor Strike kill, though. He just moved in on the team after getting that elimination on Cyclone. Ozark's now going into this next team fight with 4 ultimates on their side to Wellington's soon-to-be 4 as soon as they get Shatter. Shatter has definitely been Nebula's spot to shine, no less, if he's going to be able to manage it. We'll have to see what Crackle is able to block as he's putting his shield in the wrong direction already. Big Gav looking for the sneaky play as he's been up there so consistently. At least Cakeman's been watching him as we see the McCree 1v1 go to the side of the Ozarks this time. But Big Gav jumps right on top of him and gets the elimination. There's the Shatter I was bringing up, and we see it land onto 2 members as Cyclone is the only one able to survive and immediately pops his Coalescence as we see Crackle fall, not getting that healing from the Coalescence that he needed because it was line of sighted. Big Gav's able to get the elimination onto Cyclone once again with Dog taking out Cakeman. these supports have been falling consistently, and Hyperion's not even gotten his visor up once yet.
I'm curious to see when Q decides to use his sound barrier, because that is a main survival, able to counter a lot of those ultimates, and Crackle uses it to counter that shatter there, but Big AV already taking out this backline, and they gotta find a way to stop these picks from coming through, because he has been wreaking havoc for Ozark, and now with only 15 seconds left, they have to try to come in and do whatever they can. And the irony is they have 3 ultimates now. I mean, maybe they can put a nano boost onto the visor, something like that. I don't know. They need to at least get on the point before they do that. Are they going to be able to? Okay, they make it to the point, and a great visor there with the nano boost is going to take out 2, and this is their last chance to keep pushing forward. Can they do it? They haven't used Deadeye yet, and a double meteor strike. That's huge, and a triple from Big AV. Now make it a quadruple. That is going to turn it all around. As much as I was giving him a hard time earlier on on Eichenwald, Big AV has come through in flying colors, proving why he wanted to be on the Doomfist and getting the win for Wellnap.
Yeah, Ozarks just started being that broken record. They just kept pushing mid. They didn't go along that side route to at least throw Wellington off their game at least once, or even throw a pharmacy to try to deal with any of the backline of Wellington. Yes, their McCree was hitting shots to take out that Echo so early on, but Pharmacy could make the difference. She didn't have the Mercy, so maybe she would have survived that first trial, but they just stuck with their guns and it cost them. So now Wellington doesn't even have to push the cart that far to take the win. They essentially just have to win the first team fight, and they got it. So now with a little bit of a comp swamp here, we're gonna see Milkman on the Reaper this time. Nebula now on the Roadhog, doesn't even think he needs the Reinhardt. That's kind of been the staple of the Wellington team so far. That Reinhardt's been enabling so many team wipes. Whereas on the Ozarks, we're going to see Crackle on the Sig, and this time Cakeman on the Mercy, but no Pharah or Echo. Not what you want to see. We're going to see Karn on the Orisa, maybe for the pull-off potential, but no Lucio to help with the boobs, or Pharah with the boobs. So they're a one-man army there. And then we're going to have the McCree and the Hanzo. Hanzo's not going to do well here, especially with that Doomfist, and Reaper going to go for that close-range fighting. Hopefully McCree can get some good flashbangs here. Not even a Bastion to help with the Orisa shield or Sig shield. They're going for the high hold, but that lets Wellington just push the cart right across the bridge, so that immediately removes your boot potential. Mercy falling quite low, 2 members falling off. A great hook coming onto Hyperion on that Hanzo, and he's going to get taken out by Big Gav. Mercy's going to fall off and get spotted by Pig and get taken out. Big Gav then's going to get the elimination onto Mercy, and one more onto Cyclone, eliminating both supports. They're already getting so close to that marker with Nebula getting a double, and that's it.
That was a little bizarre at the end there what Ozark chose to run. It really didn't quite make sense as a composition. It was a little bit of everything, but nothing that really worked together. But Wellnap sure worked well together as a team, getting 3-0 and keeping the trend going for complete wins and complete sweeps of the night. All 4 teams moving on to the semifinals, which we will cover tomorrow, are going to bring a lot of skill to it. And speaking of skill, now is the time that we focus on the ICCU Player of the Game, which is going to be coming up really shortly here. And I don't necessarily know who you pick, because there were so many members, especially on Blue Springs, who just were gunning for it.
I would definitely have to give it to one of the many tank players that we saw, because those Reinhardt plays definitely defined the game, as we saw a ton of great shatters from both sides. Honestly, they were constantly getting 3+ members, and that just definitely changed the team fight to their advantage. The DPS did their jobs just like Big Gav did, but they weren't the role defining that we saw, because the tanks, once they fell, so did the team, and the ones that stayed alive made the difference. So I definitely have to give it to one of the many tank players we saw tonight.
Well, let's take a look and see who the ICCU Player of the Game is going to be. It is going to be Joe 45, and you called it. It's one of the tanks.
Yeah, he was on that Reinhardt for pretty much the entire showing, and as we see in this play, he got a great 3-man shatter with the Flame Strike. He had the combo down, you shatter, you Flame Strike, then you charge in. That's a lot of big problems we see in lower elo tier Reinhardts is they just go charging right in after they shatter, and that's not what you want to do. You want to get as much damage out as possible with that Flame Strike, and he was on point, even getting multiple kills when he even shattered. So good on Joe for getting MVP tonight.
Well, Joe is your ICCU Player of the Game, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Joe 45, your ICCU Player of the Game for tonight. And there just goes a great 5-man elimination there. Great job by Joe. Well, now, since we focused on the Player of the Game, we are going to be leaving you tonight with the top 5 plays of the night, brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 positions offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams to join out there. Reach out to them on Twitch at iGuardGaming on Twitch. Thank you, Brenner, for joining us, and thank all of you out there for joining us for these quarterfinals. Enjoy the top highlights of the night, and have a good night. The Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation quarterfinal matchup for the spring Overwatch season. And now, before we get the ability to also counter it, or even try to use some sort of CC ultimate like the Blizzard or the Shatter on them before they even try to push on the point.
Yeah, we do see the nano boost from CR3, but a great stun Diva Bomb combo from both sides, both getting 2 eliminations. Now as we go to the quick,
able to push through with the support to survive that initial damage from the turrets that were set up. As Kale takes out Azura, and then it's going to get a triple, actually. Make that a quadruple for Rockbridge, now going on to 5 there. And what a play for CBC. They have taken the point back, not even allowing Rockbridge to get 10%.
but now with Eclipse on this Roadhog, he's going to look for that hook on the Bastion. And with the swap for the Reinhardt player, now with Junior on it, have to see if he will make all the difference going up against Joe, who already has his Shatter, but Azura quickly follow behind with that Amplification Matrix, and Joe's going to get a measly little triple. 5v6. See if Blue Springs will let them do it as Brett just jumps off the edge in the back line. Definitely memeing on St. John now, getting a little bit cocky here, but it looks like they're going to go for the Blizzard and get 3 members with the Shatter coming out, getting 2 kills with the Blizzard as well as the self-destruct, getting the team wipe.
They're just getting cheeky now. They are so confident against this matchup. But that can sometimes be a team's undoing, so you don't want to get too overconfident in your matchup. The double Diva mech! Are you insane right now? Look at KC Vet! That has to be one of the best plays of tonight.